because one of the not intricate, but integrated difficulties that is much more player driven versus I just tell you to do it is was what we discussed before about people. Every character has their own story. They have their own character arc until the end of the game. So each one could be you unlock a recording for each person that you manage to get to the end of the game. It's less to do about trying to last as long as possible and more to do with getting a specific person to be the last person alive.
Hello everyone. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day so far. Today is some game dev where we dive headfirst. We'll take it a little bit of a break from our imposter spread and really looking into the demo and how exactly we want that to go about, the narrative of it, the structure of it, and how we want that to compare to the main game. So yeah, hopefully you have your thinking caps on, because there's some pretty good ads that we end up discussing throughout this process. So sit back, relax, get some drinks and some snacks, and I'll see y'all in a second. Hello everyone. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully well. Hey silly. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday? Oh, actually I think my phone, that thing's charging. Does anyone else's phone's charger like be really finicky? On like it has to be like perfect or it doesn't charge? Or is that just mine? Cause I swear, man. Oh man, hey Dragon, how you doing? Just played some Roblox because I'm bored. Oh, well, what'd you play on Roblox? Just yours? No, but I keep getting new chargers and they work fine for a while, and then after a while they just kind of stop working. I don't know what it is. Maybe I should check to see if maybe there's like lint buildup or something in the charge point. I don't know. But now I'm about to play Forsaken. Why does that sound so familiar? Forsaken game. Where is it? Is it old? Well, it's not really old. I'm seeing Forsaken where it's like an action RPG from 2022. A charging port issue? Well, how would I fix it? It's the question. I guess I could take it in and be like, hey, my charger's been weird. I just don't want them to push, be like, well, you just gotta need a new phone. I'm like, I really don't want to have that conversation. It's like Dead by Daylight. Did I spell Forsaken wrong? No. Forsaken. I'm seeing like Forsaken remastered from the PS1. But I know, I vaguely remember Forsaken. I don't remember it being that either. But I'm Googling it, it's just like, do you mean this? Alright, let's see. Hold on. Let me do just that. Do you hear it? Here. Yeah, show me on Discord. Nothing came out. Huh, weird. Was it that loud? Sorry. And no, it's about the same. Maybe I'm too rough with my ports or with my cords, or maybe I buy cords cheap so they run out quickly. I should also change my ESRB now that I look at it. I don't think we're going to be dealing with all that. And boop. Oh, let's actually go ahead and do that. So that way y'all. There we go. Say, but your breath isn't pressurized. It wasn't breath. I had a pressurized can. It was a can. It was a Technologies electronic duster dust removal. I have a thing. A whole thing of it. What you heard was me spraying it on the mic. So I had like an official one. All right, let's see here. What? Roblox. Forsaken Roblox. It's an alpha. Can I see like images? Step into the realm, encounter all sorts of familiar faces, friend or foe, mix with both. Protect your teammates. Kill. Ah, it is like Dead by Daylight. Yeah. Listen. Dead by Daylight is one of those games that should be right up my alley. I love horror. I like the like team versus killer mechanic, especially in did y'all ever play Evolve? It might have been before y'all, but like it was huge. And I loved Evolve. I really did. They went way too monetization way too quickly, and it turned me off of it. But like, they did such a good job, and I loved a lot of it about it. They discontinued it and shut down the server, so I don't, unless you can find some like people trying to keep it alive, you're not going to be able to play it. But I highly recommend watching like videos of it and stuff. It was really neat. Yeah, no, like this seems like a game that I would really love, but I've tried it. At least Dead by Daylight, it just didn't get its hooks in me. Sorry. But you know, if it's like Dead by Daylight, maybe we'll add it to Roblox games I need to play, along with all the other like doors and horror stuff that we need to play still. This one makes you obsessed, though? How so? What makes it so enticing, this particular version of it? Or my muscle so it doesn't ache so much? Well, I mean, just a nice comfy blanket. Are you just cold? Or are you looking for specifically like heat packs? Because you could do the classic route if you have access to hot water. You can do the classic route of plastic Ziploc bag, and put a bunch of hot water in it, or boil water and then let it cool, and then just lay it on your muscles. That's also an option. Oh, warm up. Oh, got you. So you're at the gym. I'm so proud of you, Dragon. I'm so proud of you. We're working out together, kinda. The way you get very enticed to the grind and... Oh. Okay. Well, I do like me some good lore. So, like, if you could give me, like, a one-paragraph synopsis of what the game... Like, the lore of the game is about. Like, why is there killers? Why are there people? What are you trying to do? That whole thing. Because next time we play... I mean, we will play Roblox again eventually. We did do it one time, in which you also saw how old I was by being like, what do you mean I have to put my phone number in? Where do I go? Do I sign in here? It was like literally 45 minutes of me trying to actually get it on. I know too much. Use your best discretion. That is true. You did use a particular wordage. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Our Roblox are crazy golf and creatures of Scenaria. What is creatures of Scenaria? Hold on. Maybe listen. Maybe this is a game I don't play on stream. Creatures of Scenaria. Oh. That's kind of cool. Oh, is it like what is that game called? The Isle, where you're dinosaurs and you're like you're small and then you grow bigger, and it's like similar like that, because it seems like it's similar just from the synopsis of it. This is the type of people. This is why I play in private servers. Listen, I'm not here to judge. You like what you like. I just need to know if I'm gonna be breaking TOS. Well, that's kind of cool. So it's kind of like The Isle, but fantasy. That's kind of neat. Oh wait, I have seen this before. I think I saw a random video of this one time. I think it was someone like, oh my gosh, the new kaiju was so cool, and it was showing it off, and I was like, this seems kind of interesting, and then I just never thought of it again. Okay. Roblox is crazy, man. It's unfortunate that, hey Dark, how you doing? It's you won't let you don't choose a freaky ass server. Well, how am I gonna know that? Brawler is already fun to watch, in my opinion. Oh, okay, good to know. But no, this is it is unfortunate that I missed the Roblox train. I was too old when it came out. I just didn't get any interest in it. But it is so good. Or at least it seems fun. I was old enough for the Minecraft craze, but I missed the Roblox craze. But yeah, no. 80s slasher movies. I'm never like I respect people who love 80s slasher movies. I've never been a slasher guy. I'm much more paranormal or creature flick. What was it? What's the phrase? Just creatures. I like really interesting, cool monsters, and then supernatural stuff. Like just slashers is just kind of like, eh. But I get it, and I respect it. Just tell me, because I know when people are plotting their devious plans or not. Sounds good. I'll be sure to let you know. We'll do a Roblox day. We'll maybe want a random Saturday when we don't really have anything lined up. We'll do some more Roblox and play some Roblox games in it. I only played it once, and ever since it took over my feed. The cutest animation for the caterpillar in the game. Yeah, it really is. It's definitely it's less of like a game in of itself and just a hub for other games. You know what I mean? I wouldn't equate it similar to Steam, but it kind of feels... No, it just feels like Minecraft. That's the best, really, like, equal thing. It's like, it feels like Minecraft. You can pretty much do whatever you want in Minecraft. But I think the difference is, like, there's, like, a core Minecraft loop, versus Roblox is, like, there isn't a loop, so to speak. It's whatever we make it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, me too. I've only played it once. I only played it for one day. It's the most expensive one. Should I buy them? I mean, not with real money. An interactive webtoon. It's very entertaining. Oh, what's the name of it? And what do you mean by interactive webtoon? What is an interactive webtoon? Because, like, never throw money? Good. Because that's how they get you. But if it's your favorite killer that you actually want to play and you have the means to get it, then why would you hold back? Is there something else that you're hoping to get more? Post a video on the memes chat. Let's see. My neighbors bought Minecraft music. I mean, I hope not. I hope they don't summon a creeper. Aww. All right, I'll check that out either on ad break or once the stream is over, depending. Remind me, I'm gonna forget. Why are my neighbors playing Minecraft? Oh yeah, God, I love pretzels, but why are they so salty? Not a lot of pretzels. Hey Starbeast, how you doing? Not a lot of pretzels are. Well, it depends if they. Are these like soft pretzels, like big soft pretzels, or are they like preserved in a bag pretzels? You know what I mean? Because those are different. And I feel like you could try to control one over the other. I wonder if making pretzels is difficult. I feel like it might be. Do it, silly. Be the evil you want to see in the world. It's actually Universalis. Universalis. What is that? Universalis. Webtoon? Is that the name of it? Oh, we're in it for I misspelled it. It's Salis. Oh, interactive webtoon. Interesting. Huh. Is it like AI? What makes it interactive? I've never heard of a webtoon being interactive. That's interesting. I guess I'll have to check it out. Because I do love me some webtoons. Manhwas, mangas, webtoons, etc. You despised pretzels, you don't know why. Is it the salt? Do you not like bread? And do you like is there a difference between hard or soft? Because I'm not a huge fan of soft pretzels. I'm more of a fan of the hard ones. Those are really good if you get the Parmesan version. Oh yeah, like the seasoned pretzels, like flat pretzels. Oh, delicious. Or those little the little twist ones that you can get at the grocery store. I recently got a barbecue one of those. So good. So good. But they were expensive, so I don't recommend it. It's kind of one of those things where you see a bad and you're like, $6? The hell? One other time I would say you had the wrong type of pretzels. Romanian pretzels are so good. What are Romanian pretzels? Now they're making me look up shit. Romanian pretzels. No, not president. Traditional Romanian pretzels. Oh, are Romanian pretzels soft pretzels? Is that what I'm calling soft pretzels, as Romanian pretzels? Or are they a special type of soft pretzel? Don't clip that. Don't clip it. If you want to see a walking eye with legs and arms, that's it. Yeah, that's that. I did see that. It gave me Bill Cipher vibes a bit. You know. Oh man. Look at all those emotes. Oh, getting a good stretch in. Oh. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. They're just having a grand old time. As soon as you mention pretzels and Roblox, they just lose their minds, I guess. Crunchy and soft. Soft ones are really, really well made. Need cheese. Store-bought. Crock pretzels are really good. Okay. When I think of like soft, I think like you buy them at a stand and it was like fried, you know? Whereas hard pretzels, I think like they come in a bag and they have a crunch. That's how I differentiate them. They'll probably have official names. It's just me defining them, right? But yeah, no. I mean, they're good. They're not good for you, I imagine, but they're good. But no, my snack of choice is still white cheddar popcorn. White cheddar popcorn is top tier snackage. I will die on that hill. Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad it isn't one of those things just like, you mean so-and-so pretzels and so-and-so pretzels, you uncultured swine? It's like, I didn't know, I'm sorry. I'm not a pretzel connoisseur. I didn't know, man. What? White cheddar popcorn? Oh my god, white cheddar popcorn is... Especially the smart food ones. It is so good. However, what I will say, there is one thing that beats white cheddar popcorn, not by much, but by a little bit, and that is the orange salt. And y'all might not have no idea what I'm talking about. About when I was in like middle high school or so, movie theaters had orange salt next to their popcorn, and you would put like a little bit on there, just move it, like shake it around, etc. And it made it taste so salty, so delicious. It was crazy how good it made it taste. And I tried to find it everywhere. Like eventually it got to a point where they just didn't have it anymore. I don't know what happened to it. So I was like, where is it? How like I can't find it. I don't even know the name of it. I just put orange salt popcorn. It's like, do you mean cheddar? No, I don't mean cheddar. No, I don't mean nacho cheese. I don't even know what flavor it is. It's just salt. And hold on. Actually, I forgot the name of it. Hold on. 1 second. I actually have it. I found it. That's the end of the story. There it is. I found it. Okay. The name of it was called Flavacol. That was the name of the salt. So eventually I found it. It was like on a Reddit thread. And it was just like, do you mean Flavacol? And I'm like, Flavacol? What the hell is this? And I opened it, and yes, it is Flavacol. So, a bit of a warning to anyone who is considering trying Flavacol. 1, it is one of the worst for you things I have ever seen in my life. And I've seen deep fried Oreos. Okay? 1 teaspoon, a teaspoon of Flavacol is 150% of your sodium intake in a day. A teaspoon is 150% of sodium for the entire day. And it also has like every food coloring known to man. Like it has like all the worst of the food color. We're talking about Flavacol, the orange salt that are put on popcorn. That it's beyond powdered sodium. A teaspoon of salt isn't 150% of your sodium intake. This is hyper sodium. This is sodium on steroids. This is the Goku of sodium. All right. But it is so good. And when I found it, I was like, oh, I'll get a container of it for my place because I didn't know how bad it was. And I've been itching. This was like a decade later, right? I was like, I've been itching to see if this is it. And it was like relatively cheap for like $20 for a whole container of a seasoning. And I was like, oh, okay, that'll last me a long while. And when I got it, this thing came in like 30 fluid ounces. And it came in as pack of 2. And I'm like, I'm taking this by half a teaspoon at a time. How long is it going to take me to get through like 30 fluid ounces going half of a teaspoon at a time? So let's just say I still have a lot in my cabinet because I also like knowing how bad it was. I was like, I don't want to eat this consistently. If it feels like one of those things where if I finish the container, I will die. It doesn't matter how long it takes for me to finish the container. Once the container is empty, I will die. That's what it feels like. It's a death in my cabinet, being like that will be the death of me if I finish it. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that experience. If you're wondering what the orange salt on popcorn that was used to be on there, it's Flavacol, and it's one of the worst things you could ever put in your body. But man, is it one of the most delicious things to put in your body. So just a heads up. The jar ends, the world ends. Yeah, exactly. If that thing ends, so do I. It was a monkey's. I don't know what happened. I think Maybe it was a monkey paw wish. It's like, man, I wish I had that orange salts. And then the finger curls, and then this Flavacol, which doesn't actually exist, happens, and it's like, you could eat it, but if you finish it, it will kill you. If I did it all at once, I don't think I could get a quarter of the way through before it would kill me. I don't know what the lethal dosage of the sodium intake is for humans, but I imagine it wouldn't take much of what's in there to knock it out. But yeah, no. So white cheddar popcorn is my favorite, with the exception of the death popcorn of Flavacol. But white cheddar is, especially Smart Food white cheddar, is chef's kiss. Granted, results may vary. I've had some bags of Smart Food white cheddar popcorn, and it was like, it's whatever. And then I've had some that is just like, this is what I'm talking about. 5 teaspoons, I guess. Hold on, let's see here. Lethal dosage of sodium. For an adult. What comes up as poison control? Salt poisoning. Here we go. Lethal dose of a table salt is roughly 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So, ketchup on popcorn tastes nice? Are you me? I don't eat popcorn with ketchup, but now you've got me curious. Because I'm a ketchup aficionado. I put ketchup on everything. I don't put it on, I was given ketchup seasoning as a joke gift. My friends, listen, whenever it's my birthday, Softburger knows, whenever my birthday comes around, my gifts usually contain some level of ketchup. I mean, they got me curious, Softburger. I wonder. Especially if I could get some, like, cheddar popcorn. Because fake cheese and ketchup taste amazing together. They just do. But then again, cheese and tomatoes taste very good together in general. Oh, what did they add to Baldur's Gate 3? On the cheddar popcorn and make margarita popcorn? Well, the seasoning doesn't taste like ketchup. It tastes like tomato sauce. Skittles on popcorn? You like the sour. I mean, the salty sour would taste pretty good together. Crossplay in photo mode. Ooh, crossplay is really nice. We'll do a fight. 12. Oh, wait, this is the new subclass one? Oh, that's awesome. Wait, what do you mean you can't? Oh, do you have, oh gosh, what is it called? Is it called Grave Mouth or something like that? Did you have like something super, super, super salty when you were really young? And then like, then from then on, you just couldn't taste sour anymore? Like, there's a term where, with people who just can't taste sour things. And I've heard it's because that really young, they had something like warheads. They ate like 5 warheads at once, and then it like overloaded. But like, yeah, like there's like a super, I watch Smosh occasionally. Well, actually pretty often now. And one of the people on there has, well, they can't taste sour. And there's been a handful of times where they've put like super sour spray on stuff that shouldn't be sour. And he just did not notice. That's really cool. I think that's neat. It's the last official patch. Modders taking it from me there. Oh, okay. That's cool. Honestly, I thought that was going to be the case anyway. I love that they've been adding so much additional love for it. But I also just assumed that after the first big release, for the most part, it was in the hands of the people who love the game. Waste candy and it just tastes sweet. That's pretty cool. Yeah, something switched. Or maybe you just have a natural inclination of having sour taste sweet. So lemonade and lemons then just taste sweet to you then. You don't have to add sugar. You just have the straight sour and then it automatically tastes sugar. That also probably means that like lemonade stuff is super sugary for you because it's double sugar. Yeah. All the sweet sour candies are amazing. Agreed. But I love the gummies more so than the hard candies just because I tend to have a fear of that I'm going to choke on them. So, like, sour gummies, that's a road trip snack every time. Sour icebreakers are the best. Ooh, yeah! They hit hard. They hit real good. The spectator got locked in the wall. Oh, no. There's a berry that will cost your tongue and turn sour things sweet. Oh, yeah! Yeah. That's right. Maybe Silly just has that naturally. Silly's just like, wait, I take that every morning. What are you talking about? I wonder what it coats it in. Let's see here. That makes sour taste sweet? Oh, it's called miracle fruit. Yeah. Evergreen shrub of the family, grown for its mild fruits and makes subsequently eaten sour foods taste sweet. How, though? Let's see here. The effect is due to miraculin. That's wild. How does miraculin work? Miraculin binds to the sweet taste receptor and does not induce physical changes to the sour taste receptor. Yet acidic substances are perceived as sweet. Wait, what? If it binds to the sweet receptor, it would block the sweet receptor, I believe. I thought that's how that works. Am I about to have to give back my master's degree? Tricks your receptors of taste, kind of like how taste triggers your tongue, feels like burning. Yeah. It definitely messes with your receptors. I knew that much, but I wanted to know how. Does it block? Does it amplify? Because it's one thing if it blocked the sour receptors. So then the only receptors that are available to take in input would be the sweet ones. So you get like that, but it said it blocked the sour receptor or the sweet receptors, which doesn't make any sense. I'll look into it. Spice. I like spice as like a extra kick to my food. Like raw spice just tastes gross. It tastes like I'm eating ash. Like it's not fun. But like the extra kick, where it's like that extra a little bit of pain, just a little bit, right? Really adds some emphasis to certain palates that I enjoy. Like I put red pepper flakes on my chicken, along with cayenne pepper, but cayenne pepper isn't really spicy. It's just kind of, you know. All right. I wonder if we should start doing some game dev. Or should we just keep on talking about food? All right. Today, as far as things that we'll be doing, what sweet chili stuff are awesome. Yeah. No. I agree. Sweet chili stuff is pretty good. Exactly. Well, I like riffing with you guys in the beginning. I like yapping with y'all for like 30 minutes to an hour or so before when we start stream, just because like it's nice to catch up on it with y'all, and it gives us, sometimes I miss what y'all say when I'm focused on something else, so you know, it's a good time. I like it. I like doing that way. Anyway, So, as far as game dev stuff, we were working on imposter spread and all that other kind of stuff, but today I have been, in the last week or so, I wouldn't say obsessed, but really feeling the desire to branch out the demo that we talked about. So, to kind of keep y'all up to speed in case you missed that conversation, this game is going to have a demo. I relatively recently put out a kind of like short form content asking people about what they think is a good timetable as far as demo versus full release of the game, which is something that we didn't go over last time, but it was looking like around 6 months or so. It seems to be kind of like a sweet spot. 6 months before the full game release, or within 6 months, like no longer than 6 months, we would release a demo, see how people respond to it. It will have all the things that the main game has, but just at a much smaller scale, and then any kind of bugs that we see from the demo we'll be able to fix and refine for the main game project, right? And the way that we want to go about the demo is we're going to have the demo be a prologue. It's going to be like a precursor to the game. You get to see what happened essentially right before the main game starts. So the way that I kind of want to go about it is that let's see here. Let's go ahead and just so we can have something visual happening. So this is the map, right? Hey Star, how you doing? So this is the map. I'm thinking that there is actually, you know what? Hold on. Let's see if I can pull it up. I know I downloaded it at one point. No. I made a thumbnail out of it where I went into detail as far as where I would want it to go. Let's see if I could find a visual representation. If not, it's fine. And I'm already bored. Okay. Another freaky server. Leave! Hurry! I believe in you! Alright. So, what we're gonna have is here is our... Why can't I... Do I just not know how to use paint? There we go. Okay. I have to reload Twitch because it won't show my messages. Oh, okay. Unfortunate. Alright, so here is our main town, right? This is the main game. This is where all the houses and everything's happening, right? So the demo is going to be a much smaller town, kind of up the road. I'm thinking this is where the mountains are. And I think this is going to be where the main character, was hospitalized and then left to go back home. So I'm thinking that what this game is that this town gets attacked as soon as the main character leaves. Town gets ambushed. They get followed down back to the town. And then that's when the main game starts, right? You get to see what the chaos that is to come before the game comes in, right? When he's developing with the Model 3Ds. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. You're getting a lot of experience with helping people out with this. That's pretty great. Now it is. No, this is the main game. This is the demo. And I am thinking that the demo will start when the main character leaves the hospital in this area, goes and then starts heading to town. So let's see here. We're gonna go. Where's the demo? Demo brainstorming. Here we go. So, with the demo being this, let's work on the narrative side of things, because that's kind of what I want to dive more into as far as like the storyline of the demo. How big do we want the map to be? Like, how big do we what is the minimum amount of houses and other important buildings do we think we should have to show everyone like this is what the game is about? If you like this gameplay loop, if you like this kind of interaction, then you're good to go. And we're going to also reward people who play the demo and the main game by giving them Easter eggs in the main game from the demo. I apologize if that's confusing, but an example of this is like maybe one of the voices that the mimics use is a voice specifically from the demo, so that normal people who didn't or not normal people, but people who didn't play the demo will just think it's a random voice, but people who played the demo, they're like, oh, I recognize that, I remember that voice, where do I remember that voice, right? And that's kind of like a cool little moment for people who do both, because we want to reward people. We want to reward people to do both. We don't want, because that's one of the issues with demos, right? Demos have a tendency to, and I wouldn't say tendency, but has a chance to cannibalize its potential audience. If the demo doesn't, if the demo provides too much, there's no reason to play the full game. But if it provides too little, it doesn't gain interest, right? And if you play the demo and then you play the full game and then it's just the same thing again, it's not gonna feel. It's gonna be like, I just played this. Like I don't have interest in it anymore. And why would I play the full game when the demo's free? Which the demo would be free, by the way, because of course it would be. This game is a indie horror game about you are a 911 operator, and your town is slowly being taken over by mimics that are trying to trick you to send important emergency personnel to that location unprepared, in which they will be killed. And your job is to determine if the person on the other end of the phone call is a real person. And if they are, then you respond accordingly, and if they're not, then you respond a little differently. And you are trying to prevent the spread of these mimics as they take over house to house. And it is a fight. It's like a battle of attrition. It's a how long can you last kind of game, where you just try to last as long as possible. And with this, you are faced with a lot of different decisions and trials, and while still trying to figure out if the person on the other side is real or not. So that's the direction we're heading. And then today we're talking about, thank you. I'm excited to play it, or I'm excited to finish making it. It's been, I don't want to say it's been a year, but it's been a year. But we did stop playing it working on it for like 6 months or so. But no, I'm excited. I really want to, one of my goals for this year is to finish this game. And yeah, or at the very least get this demo out, because I think if we get the demo out, that still gives us like 6 additional months to then like figure things out even more. Sorry, Dragon, I was on a tangent. I thought straight up having a person in the mountain cabin healed you in your cabin. Ironically, I had this discussion. My friend had like 7 interactables for chat interactions, while the 3 have use. Well, 2 interactables in 1 use building for his demo. Got you. I would say, because we're in like the 30s as far as like the amount of interactable stuff in here. We have about like 30 something. So I was thinking maybe 10 total, maybe, where we would have like 2 or maybe 3 important locations and the rest would be houses. we want to show, like, also we need to, hold on, before we move on to narrative, let's go to map. So for the map, because as far as world building goes, I like to go from environment up. So you go to the location, then you go how you would feel that people would utilize that location to its best ability, and then you would go from there to like personal relationships and things of that nature. Yeah. I was thinking like a third. Well, then you go like, because to me it's like there's a decent enough difference to say the full game gives you triple the amount of stuff versus double the amount of stuff. Triple's just more an effective advertising tool, I think. See ya, Star. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully I see you again later. If not, I'll see you Saturday. So I'm thinking 10 total. That's Q. 10 total locations. We're thinking 3 points of interest, and then 7 houses. We want to represent. What do we want to represent? Okay, so there needs to be emergency vehicles, resources, because this is also it's a resource management in a trench coat kind of game, because your goal is to save as much people as possible for as long as possible, which means you need to be very careful with a limited amount of resources, aka emergency vehicles, as you can. So we need to make sure that that's part of this much smaller, though the same gameplay loop, a much smaller scale. So we need emergency vehicles, resources, we need calls coming in, we need difficult variability. So the calls difficulty would be variable. Do we want full range? I don't know if I want to do full range. I want to hide one in the demo. So I'm going to do difficult variability 1 through 3. For those that have no idea what I'm talking about, there is a... Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Characters, broadcast system, emergency shutdown. Where are you? I have too many tabs. Don't mind me. No. Where is it? Not mimic spread. It was phone calls? No. Damn it. I need to be better at this. I like the idea of a defibrillator. One use to resurrect a dead person in town, but it also revives a mimic. I like that, but we're moving forward with the idea that these mimics don't die. We are painting this scenario with as much as we can get to this point. Granted, we might hit some roadblocks with it, but I don't want to give the impression of what these things look like. I want the players to come up with their own mental image of what these things look like. I don't want descriptors. I don't want any parts left behind. I don't want footprints descriptions. I want these things to be as vague as humanly possible and will never be revealed. But you'll be able to hear it's very audio heavy. So I want you to hear them. I want you to hear what they're capable of doing through the environment, and you get to see the effects of the environment of what they're able to do. But you will never, I don't want to give any kind of description of what they look like. Like, barely I want to describe that they're bipedal, right? But what I'm excited to see is what people are going to think that they look like. And I want to see the variations of how different these people who've played the game think that they look like, for specific reasons that they might look into that I didn't consider. All right, Thank you. Have a good one, silly. Thank you. Hopefully I'll see you later. If not, I'll see you Saturday. But what's the word I'm looking for? Demo brainstorming. Here we go. So the difficulty variability, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, the mimics come in at 4 different difficulties, technically. The first difficulty is a test of consistency. Is the person's voice consistent? The easiest way to tell if they are not human is that their voice changes as they speak. So they're switching between voices, they're switching between an old woman to a man to a child, and they're varying as they're talking. So you know it's very obvious that they are not real. Second difficulty is that they're consistently the same voice, but the sentence structure doesn't make sense. So they're able to mimic the voice, but they don't understand how the language is put together. They don't know what the rule is for speaking, right? It doesn't sit right. It's difficult to understand what they're saying because they don't really understand what they're saying. The third difficulty is context. This one is they sound perfectly normal. The words they're saying is perfectly normal, but why they are saying it in the situation that they're saying it doesn't make any sense. So that particular aspect is like, sorry, it's like, I just came back from getting a tan and I noticed that the door was unlocked. Can you bring someone over? Or like someone bust down my door. Can you bring someone over? And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. No one's getting a tan at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's little situations like that where you kind of be like, you have to think a little more carefully as far as the context of what is being said. Or if someone's calling saying like, hey, the person who just delivered my pizza just tried to kill me, but there's a town-wide shutdown. The pizza place was taken over or something, and you know for a fact that no one was delivering anything, but they said someone got delivered. That's a red flag. The fourth variable and the fourth difficulty, and something that is definitely the most difficult, is you need to know the lives of the people that you're talking to. And I plan to have that expressed through red herring calls. So like the quote-unquote rambling grandma character that just talks about everyone else's tea. At first, you think it's a waste of space and time because you're taking up time that is to actually save people. But paying attention to what she's saying gives you insight of the lives of everyone around you, so that once you get to difficulty 4, you'll know if they're lying. A good way of putting difficulty 4 is if essentially treated. So Identity Crisis illiterate, tuned down, and actually sneaky. Yeah. It's like the way that these mimics function. They have a pattern. Step 1, they stalk and observe. They basically take in all the information to make them be able to mimic them appropriately. Then they ambush. They ambush them, kill them, take their place. Then they call for help. They use their voice and what they've learned to get as many people as possible to that location, kill and ambush them, and then basically just create a situation where people are just constantly coming in and trying to help. Because the more and more people that come in, the more and more people are going to try to help. And then finally, there will be a decision where a last choice, where it's like they feel that the trickling in has started to slow down. They won't kill the last person who shows up. Instead, they will then choose that new person as the new target for stalking, and the cycle continues. That's their method of predation. It is a learning, ambush, tricking, and then repeat. So that's why they are learning how to use the phone. They're learning how to mimic these voices, and as time goes on, they get better at it, right? And so the difficulty will naturally increase as time goes on. This is giving me huge Ace Attorney vibes, minus the whole changing voices thing. Oh, good. I'm glad. I never really played Ace Attorney. But I've seen gameplay of it, and I've seen other people's play it, like gameplays of it. It's fun, and it's definitely a good compliment, so I appreciate it. Yeah, you need to catch the inconsistency at the last type of mimic. Exactly. So, like, a good example is, like, help, they killed my cat, my cat's dead, but you know for a fact that their cat died, like, 6 months prior. And you can call them out on their shit. It's a lot harder to tag that kind of stuff, but that's kind of the point. This is a game that you're not meant to win. It is a battle of attrition that you are supposed to just last as long as possible. So there will be decisions where it's like, how was I supposed to know? It's like, you kind of weren't. Either you kind of got the calls for it or you didn't. Or you were paying attention and you didn't, right? And a part of this that would kind of help, especially the way in this game, is that we have a receipt here. So this is going to be like almost like a grocery store receipt style that's going to have everything that you've interacted with for the whole game written down, including, and I'm thinking about adding this as well, is the ability to write notes down. So as you're going in, you can look back at previous ones and interactions and be like, oh yeah, no, they did mention that this family is a single dad, or this one is recently had a girlfriend, or their child is out of town. Like little things like that where you can kind of write them down and then like, oh, I remember writing this down, and then you can go back and check. Because I don't want people, especially like, we want to keep in mind people aren't going to be playing this game in all one sitting. Sometimes they'll step away, sometimes they'll close down, they'll like play it a little bit and then they'll stop and then they'll come back later. Like, and also some people just struggle with memory. So yeah, exactly. Like a journal shows you previous conversations with a time pressure. Exactly. And I don't want it to be completely autofill. Like what I want to be autofilled on here is like name, location, and time is probably going to be autofilled. And then it will be the conversation on their end and your response to it. But I think anything more than that, I want to give the agency to the player to then add notes. And I'm thinking like putting it down here. Like there'll be like stuff down in this location beneath the map where you can kind of be like, oh, I'm going to add a note. And then you type up, you click on it, type what notes you want to add. And then before you move on to the next call, you'll kind of submit that to your current call log. And then you can just look back. It's one of the decisions I made after going through accessibility options. And because we spent like a good week, I want to say, or so, like researching accessibility options and things, what we can accommodate versus can't accommodate. Because with it being such an audio heavy game, it's going to be difficult to accommodate for every disability, but we can at least be like, oh yeah, no, that shouldn't be a problem, or no, that we could mess with that, or we can add options that manipulate, like relieve a bit of the pressure. Because I'd rather people play the game in a different way than not play the game at all because they don't have the option available that allows them to enjoy it, right? Okay, before we continue, we'll go ahead and have a quick ad break, and I will see y'all in 3 minutes while I exercise for the first time. Water. I'll watch the video the next break because I shouldn't need to do either of those in the next break. Because I work out every other break instead of every one of them. Granted, in a couple months from now, when we keep on increasing it, I'll probably have to do it every time. Because otherwise it's going to be like 100 crunches. Oh, man. No, you're fine, you're fine. This break was just filled with stuff. That's all. Okay, so that's the difficult variability that I mentioned previously. Is for the demo, let's keep the difficulty 4 as a surprise. So people can be like, what did I get wrong there? That's weird. And then it slowly dawns like, oh, they never had a cat. Or, oh, They only had one kid, they didn't have two. Like, little things where it's just like, oh, they didn't mention this in the demo. So we need to take we want to feel like the main game is built on top of the demo, kind of. It's like almost like the main game's like a giant DLC. Sorry. Are you done charging? Yeah, okay, cool. Getting my phone off my desk in case it goes off. Middle of talking and then you just hear the... Okay, so 10 total locations, 3 points of interest, 7 houses. The potential to be both good or blind deaf in terms of accessibility. Blind users can have decisions read out to them and maybe an audio cue to detect on camera. Yeah. We will have to... So here's the thing with deaf. I mean, we could definitely spend a couple of streams seeing if we can make deaf work. Deaf is going to be really difficult. I guess... Because my mind is, how would you be able to do deaf for different voices? That's where, like, the biggest roadblock. Everything else is, like, sentence structure can be represented visually. Context can be represented visually. And then lore can be represented visually. That's fine. But using different voices? Not necessarily. Okay. Well, part of me, my first gut instinct to like using different fonts or different size, like different sizes and stuff to show irregularity, and I was like, well, that makes it too easy. But after giving it second thought, it's level 1 difficulty. It's supposed to be easy. Like, different voices in a speech, a person's speech, is just as obvious as different fonts in a same sentence, right? So you kind of have a really good point in that, like, yeah. No, like, blind, we could definitely try to make that work. Like, blind, I think, would be more difficult because we need to find 2 audio cue, visual cues. But since it's such a like audio heavy game, yeah. No, we could definitely paint it a little bit. I think maybe the best way we could go about it is if we have certain rules. So let's see here. Let's write this down while we're thinking about it. So here's accessibility. Hold on. Let me go ahead and... let me take this off real quick. Sorry. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I'm so sorry. Where is the damn background? Here we go. No, not demo material. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Dragon. I think if we want to show that this is accessibility friendly to blind and deaf people, we'd want that in the demo. We want that kind of hype. That's good advertising, like on the very objective level. And also, like, accessibility should be ingrained near the beginning of the process, not thrown in at the end. We need to move forward with these design principles like now, because that's one of the things that we're also considering is touchscreen interaction, because that itself could be a lot easier for some people versus using a mouse. And if we also include touchscreen interaction, because this game is very point and click kind of thing, that also means that we could get into like the phone / tablet / iPad market and have a whole new, like, be able, because I don't think there's really any kind of, like, I don't want to call this like a bigger horror game, but this isn't a phone game. I don't think there's a lot of these kind of games out there. So the market is just itching for this, hopefully. So I don't know. I kind of disagree. I kind of feel like we should have the demo have at least a decent amount of these accessibility options. At the very least, the more that's towards restrictions as far as senses wise, but maybe the ones that are like turning on and off the timer for making decisions, and like things that are a lot more like cognitive overload and audio overload and those kind of things, we might need to wait until the main game to like flush out. But the major ones, the ones that would require like really in-depth look of interactions and being able to how it functions integrally with the rest of the game, that should be in by the time we want to put out a demo. Because also we're using this demo as kind of like a playtest in a way. I would want to know if our attempt at accessibility was faulty or not enough or too far, right? Let's see here. We want downloads, cell background, and then we're gonna have it as whites. There we go. So with this demo accessibility for demo, we would want, would you have like multiple 911 codes happening at the same time to kind of build the pressure element of it? Correct. So the way that the difficulty spike is going to go up is as well, one, you're going in the beginning of the game, you're going to have more resources than you know what to deal with, which is fine. As the game progresses, as you make mistakes, as you lose emergency vehicles, as the time goes on, there are coworkers around you. You have 5 coworkers that you can see here. We have what we call bailer, provider, ex-cop, and a ride or die. And what this is basically, or we're going to go accessibility, with those 5 coworkers, is as they leave, it increases the rate of the phone calls that you get by that amount of percentage. So the first person will leave when things start to get a little weird, when it's obvious that this isn't just like a prank call. This is something that's really happening. People start questioning if this is indeed like a cult thing or if this is like something more. And the first person, who's going to be a younger, think like late teens, early 20s, this is just a job. And he's like, I'm not going to die for this. Why would I wouldn't, I'm going to leave. And everyone else tries to convince him, being like, hey, people's lives are at stake. And it's like, and he's like, so is mine. I am not going to die for this job. This is a paycheck. I'm going to go. So he leaves, and everyone, that whatever he was working on gets pushed to everyone else. So you go from 20% of the calls to 25% of the calls. Then as time moves on, you have another coworker who gets a call from her own house from her daughter saying that someone broke in. And she's exceptionally apologetic, but she has to go. She knows it's probably a trap. That person may not be her daughter, but she has to leave. She has to check. So she leaves and doesn't come back. And then you go from 25% to 33%. And then the third person, so sorry, you have 4 coworkers, not 5. You're the 5th coworker. The 4th person has been, I feel like it should be more than like a 5% distance. Well, the first bump is 5%. The second bump is 8%. The third bump is going to be like 17%. And it's not going to be exactly like 5% difference. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, you get 1 extra call. It's like, now some calls are kind of bleed over a little bit. Like, it's not going to be percentage exactly, but it's going, the narrative push is going to be, you're going to get a little bit more calls now. Right? And the 4th person, I haven't been completely sold. I'm still trying to figure out, sorry, not 4th, 3rd person, on what they do. Because before, the first idea of the 3rd person was that they crack under the pressure and they're just crying in the corner. They're like, I want to show different ways that people react to pressure in like hostile situations and like near death situations especially when facing against an inevitable death or an inevitable ending, which this game represents. Like, there is no winning. It is only fighting against the inevitable. And so I wanted the third person to be more of like, oh, you can see how people crack under pressure. But I also didn't find that very interesting as a character. Like, okay, you broke under pressure and you're now in the corner. Like, if anything, people would just be like, not like empathetic. They would just kind of be like, oh god, like, just do your job. Like, that's what people would react. They wouldn't react to it, connect with it in any way. So I I changed it to an ex-cop that did something he shouldn't have done, and instead of being fired was put onto 911 operator duty, and he's been itching to be back on the force ever since. And so after you lose a certain amount of resources, especially policemen, he'll step up and will like be like, I'm gonna do more good out there than in here, and then we'll leave, and you'll get an additional cop, but you'll have more calls you have to deal with in exchange of that. Which I am liking the positive negative push and pull thing to that, but I'm not sold on that one yet. The other ones I'm pretty much set in stone. Him, I'm still not great. But then the fourth one is your ride or die. This is the one, it will never get more than 50-50, where it's just you and one other person. And because what I want is near the end of the game, because there's going to be a tipping point. There's going to be a tipping point where so it's like 5 coworkers, it's like 10 calls for, it's like 15. Yeah, so if you're alone now, it's like 50 up to 3 at a time. You need to either respond to all 3 or risk making mistakes, or put on hold on one at a time to risk more deaths. Essentially, there will be a point, probably around between the second and third, where you're going to have to start making decisions of you can only send your resources to one location between 2. And you have to decide which to save. Do you save the school that makes it so that they then can attack all these other homes over here? Or do you save this one house and they don't get access to all these locations? Like, you'll have to make a decision as far as who to save and who not to save based on that. And you'll be forced to kind of make those not so great decisions that in times of crisis people have to make. And there will be a point when there's all these, right, there won't be less than 2, but once you get to 2, that's kind of the pinnacle. You're going to be answering calls. Calls will be coming in, and you will not be able to answer them in time. And the drop off on pressure and drop off of the pinnacle is, I no longer can keep up with everything that's happening, and we do not have the resources that can do it. And people start to have that learned helplessness feeling, where it's like, well, there's no point sending anyone else out anymore. Well, here's the thing. This is what I have planned for it, Dragon. When you've reached that point where it's too late, and no matter where you send anything, everyone's just going to be dying, the ride or die is going to excuse himself. He's going to go over to the bathroom, and you will hear him on the phone with one of his family members, and he's going to be having a conversation of, I'm not coming home. Like, this is it. And like, tell these people I love them. Like, the whole going away conversation. And during that time, when he's gone to the bathroom to have this very intimate conversation, he gets attacked and replaced by a mimic. And you don't know. And you can't tell, because you don't look around at this game. It's pretty much just this visual. You never see him. You just hear him. And this is the main reason why this is called Last Call, is because I have a picture of exactly how I want this game to end, which is all the lights are low. The music has gone down. The computers in the background of all your coworkers are off. And the phone stops ringing. And it's dead quiet. And then the phone rings one last time. And then you pick it up. I still don't know what that phone call is going to say. I might even just cut the game there, so you don't know, and no one knows what that last phone call is. Whether it's a person, or if it's them, if it's the mimics. And that's how I want the game to end. I want the craziness of the sound in the background to be loud, and phones ringing and people talking, and as time goes on and people leave, the calls go down, the sound and background music go down, and I want to mimic that feeling of when you're in the forest and you're walking through and you hear all the birds and the insects, and then they slowly quiet, and it's just you and the crunchy leaves and nothing. And then that ominous feeling of something is wrong and that something is near. And that is exactly what I want to capture at the end of this. It's the full-on feeling of helplessness, and then the phone rings. It's like I did what I could. This is as far as I go. And here it is. And that's the end. And your fight against this is just trying to last as long as possible to push it, but it is always inevitable. Oh yeah, no, I definitely got that. that's what inspired this game. It's that mental. We're almost like working backwards, where it's like that's what inspired me to choose this game over all the other ones that I decided on, that I could have done, is that idea of just this person alone who fought for as long, as hard as possible against an inevitable end, and they're just sitting and they're by themselves, and then the phone rings. And you don't know if that phone ring is an opportunity. You don't know if it's the Grim Reaper himself. Right? You don't know if it's the mimics. You don't know if it's Survivor. It could be SWAT team. It could be anything. And it's, I don't know. It's just something magical about that moment that I want to build towards. Thank you for the follow, Hack Dog. Appreciate it. And so I also want, I don't know how I want the demo to end. What does that even mean? What does that mean, Hack Dog? Is that a command? Not even a please. How are you doing today? Hopefully well. But no, the demo, I don't want to do the same ending. That'll cheapen it. When I imagine the ending for the demo is almost akin to, like, I don't want to sound cheesy, but you know how some movies, they've like already prepped they've already prepped the like the sequel, where they're like, my god, this could be brr, brr, brr. It kind of, that's kind of the direction where I want to take it, where it's like you have you kind of zoom out of this small town that got taken over, and then like the computer will just kind of like zoom over to the main town, and then zoom out, and then you'll be able to like see like almost like the car going down the road, and then maybe like movement in the trees. Maybe not to the extent of like the raptor scene in Jurassic Park with the high field, you know what I'm talking about? Maybe not to that extent. So like that's one idea. Another idea that I had, I don't know what to say. It's just a thing that popped up in mind. No, you're fine. Example is just the same phone, but no way to answer it. Like the idea of player basically entering the equivalent of heaven. Maybe. I don't think I want the main character in the small town to live, because I want to give the impression that the main character in this game lives, because she was the target. She was the one who was being like, who brought all these things in, right? And I want to give that feeling of like, maybe she's still the target. Maybe she's still chosen to be like followed to the next place. Because if everyone else is dead, then the cycle of how they go about things means that they need someone to stalk. So the fact that she's the last one alive, yeah. Well, everyone jumps to different things at different times. No judgment here. Odd, but you know, to each their own. Another option that I was thinking of for like a good ending. So let's see here. Possible endings. The first one is everyone is dead. Map zooms out, then pans over to the main game's location. And then the other one is that it shows the car in the main character. It like goes to the perspective of the main character and how that they left the hospital. And then it will like, the car will keep moving, but the camera will stop behind them. And then it will just slowly pan in to a dark moment of the forest. And like, you don't know, like, I won't make it obvious, but I might make it so that there's like two pinprick reflecting eyes looking through the trees. Or maybe nothing at all. Maybe it's just slowly pan into a deep forest that's dark and you can't see anything in it, and it'll just close. It'll just stop. But it won't show anything, right? So it kind of goes with the idea of you don't know what these things look like, but due to the cinematography of it, it gives the impression that whatever happened at the previous place is following them. But you don't know where they're going, and you don't know how far it is or how long it'll take for them to get there. So that's another thing that I was thinking as well, is kind of giving the impression through cinematography that we are actually, you know, showing like it's here, like that whole thing. Because the it's here thing feels a little cheesy, a little on the nose. I want to take more of a subtle approach if possible. Jeez, because you were talking about earlier. That's true. Well, funnily enough, when it was the give birth thing, the first thing I thought of was egg. Was the emote egg? Because technically. So let's write that down. So another one is pans to main character, showing they are still driving away. Camera stops as the car drives by, showing a dark forest behind them. What? Were you not following me, Dragon? That's crazy. What? I thought you were. That's wild. Well, thanks for follow. That is weird. Maybe you joined us and then you joined the Discord so you didn't feel like you had to. And then like, because I think you joined the Discord the first time you were here. Right? Alright. Camera stops by the car drives by, showing the dark forest behind them, slowly panning in, but not showing anything. Potential variables. So a potential variable is that 2 pinprick dots can be seen, but they are hard to see, similar to Portrait of God. Have you seen Portrait of God? If not, you need to. It's so good. It's like a 10-minute YouTube like horror show, short movie, film, and it's so good. I highly recommend it. But there's a point in it where they don't point it out to you. They don't make it obvious, but you get to see these things' eyes in the darkness, and it's really, really, really effective. So I was kind of thinking of that, where it just kind of slowly pans in as your eyes are searching for, like, trying to see what we're showing them. I don't know if it's more effective not to show anything or to actually have some pinpricks that they could find if they looked hard enough. Yeah, it's so good. It's one of my favorite horror. That's up there with like Pixel with Backrooms stuff. It's not like super horror. I think it's just really, really well done horror. But it's not like super gruesome or super scary, but it is very good. So I do recommend it, but if that kind of stuff doesn't tickle your fancy, then don't worry about it. But just know that is kind of what I'm referring to in this particular case, where it's like you have eyes that is there, that is hard to differentiate. But the reason this is a potential variable is because if I give pinprick dots, I do give the impression of what these things are, which is probably bipedal and probably only have 2 eyes, which is not a whole lot to of information to give, but it's still information that I don't necessarily need to give, right? Like the gory jump scare heavy, the other horror stuff. Oh yeah, if it's psychological horror, you'll like this one. It's very psychological. It's a story about I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's a story about a person talking about a portrait that only some people can see. That's as much as I'm going to give you on it. So it's very psychological. So I think you'll like it. The other option is that during the panning of the camera, it shows a sign of the name of the town in the distance to that town. I kind of like that, because at first I wanted to show like there's like, oh, this is gonna be the new spot. Yeah. If we were gonna lean into God ending, a prayer before the start of the shift seems like a good dramatic irony, more like foreshadowing. Do we want to go religious? I mean, I don't know. The kind of horror, and I've said no to a couple other ideas for this particular reason. The horror that I want to imbue with this is dark forest, old gods kind of thing, where it's like these creatures have been hunting humans for generations. They've been in caves. They are the reason why abductions in cave locations in the United States overlap a lot, right? Where it's like missing people and cave locations overlap like significantly, and it's really creepy. And that they've been hunting humans for a very, very long time, but they've recently been moving out of caves due to the amount of humans that are available, as well as like how much we've been intruding onto nature, etc. And so I want to give this feeling of like this ancient nameless thing that have been the source of why you don't follow whistling and whispers in the forest, that you have the mimics of people's voices calling to you in the Appalachian Mountains. Like, that's the kind of horror that I want to imbue with this. Because we've stepped into like SCP or government or like that kind of like Men in Black kind of feel to it, where it's about containment and things of that. And I love a good SCP. I love it. And a lot of games take a lot of inspiration out of that. I also love like Control. If you haven't played it, it's very good. But in this case, it's I want that feeling of this mysterious, like this thing that has always been there and has been the source of our nightmares, the monsters that are real, the bogeyman that exists. And I want that kind of feeling of like you don't trust, that betrayal of trust and trickery. I personally find is a very effective tool for me, or against me, as far as like effective horror. Dying leads to you going to the creator of the mimics and made the mimics to drive the humans to extinction and get new apex species. Yeah. I mean, the end of the game, I'm not planning on having the main character ever die. Not even God is real. Yeah, God is a mimic. That, I think, I want to leave it vague enough but leave enough crumbs where that could be a possibility. I like that idea. I definitely don't want to make it official, but make it so that like this could be an answer. Like this could be something, because a good example of that is like these things have been hunting humans for this long, but we haven't had things written down. Like, why did a whole town disappear off a map? If that was consistent, why hasn't more towns disappeared? Why now, of all times? Why suddenly now are all these things happening? Like one example could be what I mentioned before, as far as humans like overstepping their boundaries, they're taking over areas they shouldn't be taking over, or it could be what you were saying, where it's just like this could be religious. This could be a push from a dark old god, not the god but a god, as well as we want to potentially have the idea of what was I thinking? I think I lost my train of thought. I don't remember. Damn it. Oh well, it'll come to me. But the idea of, keeping things open-ended. I like the idea of that. And I like the idea that God is a mimic. I think that's very what's that series called on YouTube that I absolutely love, but I'm bad with names in general. Vandella Effect? No, the Vandella Catalogs. Vendetta Catalogs? Something like that. That. It feels very that, where it's like the thing that's killing people and mimicking people are like a twist of what angels were. Like, it pretends to be an angel and takes on the faith of a god that doesn't exist. So it feels very that, which is beautiful. I love it. And one of the benefits of keeping it open-ended is that it can leave open to that. Something that Matt Pack would love to debunk and deep dive into, yeah? Granted, I'm not that smart. Still. So, pan and camera show the name of the town and the distance to that town, instead of just showing the town on the camera. That's actually not bad. We could potentially combine these. Because if we make it so that we're panning the camera to the forest, showing the sign of the distance to the town that they're going to, people are going to assume just to focus on the sign. But we have two pinprick eyes in the background as well. That, like, maybe it's like trees rustling in the wind, and like, it is dark in there and you can't really see anything, but the pinprick eyes or dots don't move. And it's so vaguely faded that it's hard to see. I love ones where it's like you don't see it until you see it again. Or if people are streaming it, you know, and people are like, did you see it? It was at the back. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then they look back and they're like, oh my God, it's right there. Like, I love those moments are really fun too. That could be fun. Oh, one thing I didn't want to mention. It's something that I've mentioned before, but it's something that we need to keep in mind during this entire design process, which I think we have, with what we have now, is accomplishing everything. And that is, when making a game in today's day and age, there are 3 things you want to keep in mind and try to accomplish at the same time. And now, is it always possible? Not always, but I think for the biggest likelihood of success, you need to do these 3 things. And that is, 1, to make a game that's fun to play, which feels obvious, but I think we've played games that don't necessarily check the box of check 1. So have a game where someone wants to play it, and then they have fun playing it. Checkbox 2 is have a game that's fun to watch. Because in today's day and age, that's your marketing, baby. That's other people playing your games. That's streamers. That's YouTubers. That's game reviewers. That's like if it's not fun to watch, you're going to seriously hurt the marketing that comes about in today's day and age. Then people are just not going to want to watch it. And then, like this big camera, but I don't know what it actually is. Yeah, I know. Well, I'll tell you after this third one. And then this third one. Yeah, no, I'm here. Oh, are you there as far as the cameras on the scene? Yeah, no, this is you. So the cameras. So okay. So, first, I'll finish what I was saying. The third one is you need to make a game that's fun. No, you're fine. You're fine. Is to make a game that is fun to play after watching it. I think that's the most difficult thing, because if you have a game that's fun to watch but isn't fun to play after you watch, then your marketing's going to eat your player base. It's going to cannibalize itself. You need a game that is all 3 of these things to do well. That's what I believe and what we're trying to make here. Okay. As far as the camera thing, so this is what you see. This is the main hub that you'll be interacting with. So the first thing that's going to happen, we're going to go through the gameplay loop, is your phone starts ringing. So then I click the phone, zoom into the phone, and then you'll be able to answer the phone call. You'll be able to say caller ID, and then you can do other things while you're listening to the phone call. Once you understand the phone call, you can look at the map, see where they are, see from the caller ID, and then kind of use your best guess as far as the location, and use that information to help determine if, what you are dealing with is a human or not. And then once you have made a decision, you'll go down here at a keypad. And this keypad, you'll have different numbers, and this red is different emergency vehicles. So let's say I have a situation that requires 1 police car, 1 fire truck, and 1 ambulance, right? So I would hit 1 for police, then 1 ambulance, and then 1 fire truck, right? Or if I think it's not a real person and I think it's a mimic, at the moment, this is what we're going for. We haven't necessarily gone into the details of resource management yet, so bear with me. Is that you would need to put an extra police car in your determining factor of what to send over there. So if it's 111, but you believe it's a mimic, then it's 2 police cars, 1 ambulance, 1 fire truck. And then you send them on their way. So you interact with here, send whatever the emergency vehicle is, send them. You'll be able to see them go off on the map, etc. And then you deal with the next call. Everything here is the history of all the calls that has happened, as well as how you responded to it, and any notes that you want to take. And then here is the radio that you'll be able to turn on, and then by turning the radio on, you can hear the results of your decision. So when they arrive to the house, you'll be able to hear the policeman talk as well as any of the other emergency personnel talk, and you'll be able to hear what happened based on the decision that you have made, as well as any kind of clues. Was the house destroyed? Are there bodies left? Did someone get attacked? I haven't told you as far as what each emergency vehicle does. I should probably do that. Each vehicle does a different thing. The policemen are what helps people as far as anything violent, as well as it will help you stay alive in a mimic situation. Yes, that's a good question, because I don't 100% know how I would go about. Would it be, on one hand, switching between different routes would make things a lot clearer, but at the same time, when things get really bad, having them all talk at once would help increase the tension, but it could be very audio overwhelming if it does that. So I would say yes. I would say you would be able to switch. And in fact, we will go ahead and... Where's the radio? I know I have a radio on here. Yeah. Radio stations you can turn on for clues. And then we'll have radio can be switched to different channels for different groups that have been sent out. And the way that's going to work. Let's see here. Where are you? The way that's going to work, although either make a queue with each having a button to focus, or B, all blared at the same time. Well, that's the thing where it's like, I haven't made a decision of what I want more. I know they each have their own benefits and consequences. In a realistic scenario, switching between them makes the most sense. And I think I don't need to underestimate. Maybe I'm overestimating or maybe I'm underestimating the feeling of switching between the different radios, trying to listen for the right moment without missing the right moment. You know what I mean? So like if I'm switching between each one and I have 3 different ones out and they're all going to a house around the same time, I'm going to be flipping through this trying to be like, okay, let's hear the results. Let's hear the results. And then like trying to flip and make sure I don't miss anything. What we have considered for the phone was from last time that we were talking about it was a hold, and then you can listen to like the recording of the holds. So maybe on the radio we can have the recordings of the radio as well can be played back, but by then maybe it's too late, or maybe there will be a delayed reaction of how to properly go about it. That could be interesting. I don't know if I want the feeling of, oh, you missed it, that's too bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, the radio was definitely a more recent ad where I would want the feedback of you did well versus not well versus like the car disappearing on the map or something, because that feels very anticlimactic. I want you to hear the results of your actions. And it does also open the idea of like if you listen to the radio, they'll talk on the way. They won't just talk when they get there. Because I want scenarios where if you send a group, let's say you send a group to like this house here, and it doesn't go well. You chose wrong, they tricked you, whatever. And then you send another group that's supposed to go up here. There's going to be situations. I probably won't make it so it's everyone, but certain people in the pool of resources, it is they will disregard your decision on sending them over there, and will change their own course to go help their coworkers. They will disregard you to help. Some people, I want the different NPCs to have different priorities in that aspect of like, will they listen to you? Will they not listen to you? Will they disregard your orders? Do they follow it to a T? Like each NPC on all of the emergency vehicles each have their own overarching story, like character development throughout the entire gameplay. Because eventually there will be the last person alive in this game. There's just going to be. There will always be one person left. But I want to make it so that the last person left will have a whole like character development arc from beginning to end. And if you get to the end with just them, then amazing, awesome. But if you go with someone else, then you'll hear their story all the way to the end, right? And that changes the gameplay enough where people can then also like manipulate it, where it's just like, oh, I want to hear this person's full story. I'm not sending them out to anywhere that I'm not fully decided on, right? So the radio also helps with building that kind of character development and narrative tool to the character. Have I played Danganronpa? I have not played Danganronpa, but I've been love watching Game Grumps play it. So I have not personally done it. This is giving me a mass panic debate in that game. Basically, you can hover over different characters and adds focus on their voice, and they can still talk at the same time. Oh, that's not bad. That's actually not bad. All right, cool. Thank you for letting me know that one. I like that one a lot. So instead of that one, possibility, and then we're gonna make it so that it's like all voices can be heard at the same time, but can be switched to a more specific version, and other voices will be turned down but not off. This option can be turned off to hear everything at the same volume. All right, sounds good to me. I like that idea. I really do. I think that kind of solves the problem. It adds the chaos to it, but allows a quote-unquote focus so that you can listen to things without getting the audio jungle in the way. Let me know when it's done. Yeah, but I appreciate it. It's helpful, especially for when it comes to game dev and tackling this. But yes, no, that's the gameplay loop as far as the interactions of the game. But as calls come in, if you make the right decision, the police will be able to push back the mimic. The mimic will leave that location and then go to a different location, and then the cycle will repeat. Right? So you go about doing that. You keep on trying to defend it a bit. They get smarter and better at what they do. As time moves on, I want to give the feeling that there's going to be more than one as time moves on, where then suddenly the houses over here start to get taken over. Especially if you start like, oh, they're over on the top left. If I get a call from the south, I don't have to worry about like paying attention. It's automatically going to be a real person, right? Those kind of assumptions I want to play against. And when a house, if you get it wrong and you send location resources over there, you run into the purpose of a fireman. So a fireman, their main job though, is to get to people that their others aren't able to get to. So like a person buried in rubble, or stuck in a car, or stuck under a car, you get a fireman to get so that you can get to the person that needs help, right? So that usually means that the fireman, no matter what, is in the front. They are the tank class, so to speak, in this case. And if you make the wrong decision and you have a fireman there, what will end up happening is that the fireman will be ambushed, but no one else will die. Because the policemen see it, the EMTs will see it, and they'll back off, right? But if you get it wrong and there isn't a fireman available, all the resources that you sent over there will die. They're gone forever. And then you have to deal with all the other calls coming up with those resources not being available, and the cycle continues. The mimics can attack the same place more than once. I do plan to have a narrative development of the people that live here as well throughout the game, and it may or may not vary depending on if they get attacked and they survive or not. Because a person who gets their house broken into and then their lives are saved, like, how would they handle that? How would a person handle that? One, they might leave their house so that they could go to a place that, like, to someone else that they can trust and go to their location. Maybe they'll want to go to like a center location. I've considered like a community center kind of deal where people could go to like the school or something. There's also, we've added the ability where people are able to defend themselves occasionally. But you'll still get a 911 call, but you won't know if the 911 call is fake or not, as far as them actually defending themselves, or if it's the mimic pretending that they did that, right? But that's one of the biggest reasons why we have over here on the right that we have a hardware store. So one of the ways they go about responding of being broken into is that they go to a hardware store and then start boarding up and fortifying their home, and then it's harder to break into, so it's easier to defend, right? And so a lot of these locations, the green ones in particular, are points of interest. So houses are where people live, right? Points of interest influence gameplay to some way, shape, or form. One of the biggest ones is the news station that is right here. The news station, as long as it's on our side, will be able to make broadcasts to the town saying, hey, don't trust anybody, stay at home, be safe, don't like, there are people pretending to be people and they're hurting everybody, so stay home, like, you just don't do anything rash. Some people, like, there's like an arrogant old man I think is going to be right here or something, who will automatically do the opposite of what the news tells them to do, which is for better or for worse, I suppose. Other members can be mimics. What do you mean by members? Do you mean emergency personnel? Do you mean people? What is or coworkers? What would you consider members be? No, but I've considered the idea of it. I don't think so. I think I will make it so that they can talk over the radio. The mimics can talk over the radio of policemen that they've killed to try to send more, saying that they need backup. But it's not like they'll be in the car with them. Even though I'm not gonna talk about what these things look, I do want it to feel like these things don't look human. They sound human, they don't look human, and they can't make themselves look human. Because I think that's a different kind of mimic that I want it to be. Where it's like, oh, you don't know if the person is like, I don't want to go down like The Thing, or like these things almost look like people, like Mandela Catalog, that's what it was. You want to have a way to disintegrate mimics, but I think it would be too much distress for the first game. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where I don't think these things are going to look human, and from this context, for what I'm making for this, but just sound human in almost every other way. So I think it's, as far as pretending to be emergency personnel It is strictly a vocal radio manipulation than anything else. But as far as the news station goes, I mean, I already have like the story arc for the anchorman that lives there. They'll continue doing what we don't want them to do, which is go over people dying and making the news of it and all that, sensationalizing, getting a rise out of people. But if this gets taken over, if the broadcast system gets taken over by the mimics, then we lose control over the broadcast systems, and then the mimics are able to broadcast what they want over the news, which is trust people, let people in, people are hurt, we need to use your home to let people in, like that kind of thing. So like we have the church, we have the broadcast system, we have abandoned buildings, we have the park, we have a school, we have like grocery store, we have like all these different kind of like stuff that we want to have positives and negatives to a certain degree as far as keeping it versus not keeping them. And that also means that for the demo, we also want, so the 3 points of interest, we want positives and negatives for keeping and losing those as well, right? And so the decision here is a lot to do with who do we save, who do we not save? Do we save this points of interest but don't lose any people, or do we lose people but keep the point of interest? And those kind of difficult decisions later on, like right in the mid game, where we were having to kind of like give and take here and there, right? All right. So Mama Dota says it's time for us to have a short break. I'm gonna watch the videos that you mentioned, Dragon, and I will see y'all in 3 minutes. Oh, the meme one was very cute. I liked it a lot. And then the Dunkaropon, I don't think I pronounced that right. I see what you mean with it. I think I would go about it a different way because I still feel like it was a lot of audio jungle still. But I see what you mean. Good. I did too. In case it's not super obvious, every ad break, I switch between sitting down and standing up because I have a standing desk. And because I found that standing up for 4 hours sucks, but so does sitting down for 4 hours. So I switch. So we're now standing. I needed to stretch. Oh. Okay. So, but I do like the idea. I do very much like the idea of you get to focus in on it. Maybe we can even focus in with like highlighting, where you can highlight it on the map. So one of the things that we want, okay, let's get certain things straight. So there is a reason why I have the camera zooming in and out to different things. So get those adjustable tables. I see them on Uni's podcast, and it's amazing. Honestly, I thought the transition to go to a standing desk would be a lot. It really isn't. Like, standing is a lot less of a taxing thing than I thought it was going to be. And it's a lot better for you. Granted, I think probably the best thing that I could do would probably, instead of standing for long periods of time, because I feel like pooling on the legs and stuff like that, is if I got like a treadmill under the desk, and then I can walk, and then that way there isn't any pooling. Because in case you don't know, the way that our bodies work is you pump blood from your legs to your heart by walking. The impact and pressure from you walking pushes the blood back up your leg. Your heart doesn't have enough pressure to do that on its own. You walk in order to do that. Which is an interesting little anatomy fact for those who didn't know that. But the reason that the cameras go into different locations like this is we're taking a page out of the FNAF book. So, I mean, obviously it kind of gives a little bit of FNAF feel just due to the nature of what it's a click horror, point and click horror game kind of. And that is something that I don't think a lot of people pay super close attention to. And that is the balance between information and what's a good word I'm looking for? Power? It's not a good word for it, but I'll explain in a little more detail. So in FNAF, you either control information in control. You sacrifice control to get information, and you sacrifice information to get control. You don't get both. And I want to give that feeling as well in this game, where you have to, in order to know things, you have to be unable to do other things. And if you want to do certain things, you cannot know of things. So in FNAF, the way they did it is that you have the cameras. You can look around, see all the cameras, see all the different, animatronics, see where they're located, do what you need to do there. But in looking at the cameras, you can't control the doors. And you can't control the doors you can't look at your cameras as long as you are controlling the doors. So you don't know what's happening outside. And it's that trade between control and information that adds that extra level of, there's that level of tensity, right? You will never fully get comfortable. Which is why it's so difficult to have more strategy-focused horror, because strategy is about empowerment, about giving information and control, and horror is about disempowerment of removing both, or as much as possible. And so you need to strike a balance as far as giving information and giving control, but never doing both at the same time. Which is why it's like, okay, cool, you're able to listen to the phone. Maybe in order to hear the phone, you can't move away from this. Maybe you don't know what's happening on the computer screen. Maybe you can't interact and put out resources. Maybe you can't turn on the radio. Like, being able to look at different things means that you can't interact with anything else. You think that the camera and the radio should be the same? Being able to hover over the red, which I'm assuming is the emergency personnel, and be able to listen to them? Well, the red actually is the infection spread right now. The emergency personnel is down here on the right where we are. Still have the same power over info. You can't tell while you're listening to the camera and vice versa. Being able to hover over the red and then be able to listen to them. So, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, Dragon, you're saying that the radio, I should be able to click on the map here and then hear their radio. Am I understanding that correctly? Well, I know that you wouldn't be able to listen to the radio and listen to the call. The blue. The blue? You mean this? Or do you mean all these little ones here? If you're talking about all the little ones, those are houses. If you're talking about this blue square right here, this is a policeman, so you would be correct. But no, there's definitely going to be a trade-off between radio and phone calls, though. You can listen to phone calls and listen to what they're going to say, but in doing so, you can't hear the radio to hear what the results of your actions are. And if you're trying to listen to the results of your actions, you're not going to be able to move forward and answer the phone. Got you. Emergency personnel is, I have a little plus sign here. The red here is a fire truck, and then policeman is here. The greens are points of interest, and then the blue little squares are houses. That's pretty much it. And then maybe even minutes, but that seems complex. All of them are going to have dialogue, but it's not like they're going to have like complex trees. You know what I'm talking about? So in a lot of RPGs, you get complexity is exponential, as far as like you have 3 people, but they all influence each other's decisions, and then you times that with like 30. Right? That would be insane. But so instead, what I'm planning on doing is have different people that have been specifically designed to have a character. Yeah, well, it's the illusion of complexity, but everything is linear. So it's more every single person has a character development arc that reaches to the end of the game. Every single one. All the NPCs in all the houses, as well as all the resources as well. Now, the randomization of when people die and get taken over allows the illusion of complexity of who makes it to the end of the game. So it gives the impression of like, oh, this happened because of this, and this happened because of this. It's like, no, it just cuts certain things short. So it gave the illusion that it stopped to be cut, and it was like, oh, this tree made it so that it happened. It's like, no, it just stopped it. At least that's the current plan in the direction that we're going to be going with it. And we'll also have it so that they have a particular relationships between other people. So we'll have, I don't know if you were here when I talked about it, but I talked about how we're going to have a neighbor who hates the living guts out of their other neighbor because sleeping with his wife. So what do you think you're gonna do when these mimics start happening and they know that, hey, they're breaking into houses and killing people? Do you think he's gonna call the police when it gets broken in? Do you think he's gonna leave some meat outside of his window? Right? So like they'll have a little things like that where you'll have relationships with each other a bit, where, and then maybe like, if anything, a decision tree of, or maybe even likelihood of, if attacked, it does blank. Like, okay, if they were attacked and they survive, are they the kind of person to try to defend themselves? Are they the kind of person to run? Do they panic? Do they just go into a corner with a knife? Like, how are they going to respond? And we can just kind of go down that particular rabbit hole, but that's a lot less. It's better to make a story arc for 30 people than it is trying to have each of their decisions influencing each other, thus influencing it even further, right? That it's an actual game aspect. They have simple dialogue, like, are they talking to a police officer? Are they dying? And after the level ends, that is the moment where their development is done, repeating who gets saved. And then in the team dialogue, as they might be dying or leaving for their safety in reducing the number of 911 operator. It's a mixture. So some of them are talking to police officers, some of them are, their final moments are over the phone, some of them are over the radio. Like, it would vary as far as the story arc, and the end of the story arc is going to be the last person who calls will be the end of their arc. And the last resource that lives talking over the phone, that is the end of their arc, right? So it's not necessarily set in stone, but it would be what we would determine as the last time the player interacts with that character would be the end of that story arc. Yeah, I mean, we might have some situations where if blank dies, then they react this way. Like, if they have really strong relationships, like we could have two cops that are in a relationship, and if one of them dies, maybe they go down a completely different path than if the other one lives, right? And or we can have them constantly together, so if they were to die, they would die together. We could have that, or we could separate them to see what happens. Like, there's a lot of different ways that we can go about it. But I want to, due to the fact that of the nature of how many people that we're dealing with, I want to try to do this as simple as possible, with still making it convincing that the people feel like, the NPCs feel like people, and they're reacting a way a person would. And they're not just, one of my biggest gripes in video games and character development in general, or NPCs in general, is that a lot of times they just feel like they were sitting around waiting for you to hit the interaction button, and then all these, but my coding is garbage, but I will take so much practice to actually be able to implement stuff. Well, then I think you joined the right stream, because you're going to see me do it. Like, you're going to watch me fumble for weeks trying to get this in. So you and me are in the same boat, in the sense of, like, we will see, like, when we get to a point where we are making dialogue and the script and everything, I am going to be obsessed with so much of these things. I cannot wait to do, like, different stories. Like, were you here when we were talking about different scripts between the cat lady? We have a cat lady situation, a marriage counseling situation, a man on the street situation, and not from around here situation. Like, we have, like, coworkers and like different scenes and, like, all this other kind of stuff that we want to go about it. And it's just I'm gonna go so hard into it. So, like, one of the things, like, and we're gonna have, like, it's not all gonna be morbid. So we're gonna have situations that are very dark, right? And very just, like, upsetting. But then we're gonna have situations that are also just kind of funny, like a guy who keeps calling to order food constantly. Like, little things like that, little humor. We want to break it up so that it isn't constantly all doom and gloom, because otherwise people will get desensitized to it. It'll be less effective. McDonald's crab meal, and it was good. What do you get for the Minecraft meal anyway? Also, the nether sauce, if you put your fries on your tongue or any other substance while eating nether sauce, it will burn your tongue. Is it, like, spicy? Can I send the phone call game I voice acted in? Is there a self-promotion section in game dev? If not, I'll add one for you. But if so, yeah, I could check it out. If it won't take more than 50 minutes, I just don't see why not. That should be fun. What's somewhere I'm looking for? You get nuggets or a burger, some fries, an adult toy like a potion filled with soda, or a Minecraft McDonald's burger, or a zombie, or a grimace egg. Oh. Yeah, share your project would be... Yeah. Yeah, we could do it near the end. Just shoot me a reminder when it gets to, like, an hour, a little more than an hour from now. When we get to, like, 4:30 Eastern, let me know. Give me a reminder, and we'll switch gears. I mean, less of a walking sponsorship and more to do with just genuine curiosity. I'm not gonna go out and get one. I'm not the biggest McDonald's fan. It's just been a while. McDonald's sitting in my chat being like, "Oh, he missed out on a sponsorship." I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying, like, I just don't go there very often. However, if I were to be paid for it, you just see me show up with, like, a McDonald's M on Mama Dota's forehead. Oh man. But yeah, no. That's pretty much the gist of it. Is there any part of the interactions or gameplay loop that is confusing, or I didn't go into enough detail, Dragon? Okay. New costume, McDonald's employee Toto sponsored by McDonald's. Oh man. I wonder what I would make it look like. Maybe Grimace? Like a Grimace Mamadoto? Is kind of the direction I would probably go, because he's also purple. Maybe? Hard to say. Hard to say. Alright. Let's see. Advertising? Like how I'm gonna advertise the game? Just Mama Dota inside a McDonald's bag. Actually, that's kind of cute. That's actually not bad. And she's just drinking like a McDonald's Sprite. Is it bad taste that she'd be eating McNuggets? Is that bad taste? I don't know. I feel like it probably would be. They're just like, why is the dodo eating chicken? Oh my god. It's like, how dare you? Because everyone died unless you're drinking a shake. Listen, I actually really enjoyed the Grimace Shake horror fad that happened. I thought that was really good. I thought it was really funny. I was here for it. Okay. All right. The whole I'm eating chicken in front of you, I think it's not morbidly bad. Yeah, Mama Dodo, I don't think feels connection to chicken enough to feel like it would be an equivalent to Dodo. It's too far removed. I don't think she would take it personally. Plus, I think for the most part, she understands the law of nature of eating. I think if more than anything, she would probably feel more strongly on like animal cruelty in the life of a lot of our animals that we raise. I think she would have a lot more something to say about that versus just actual eating of it. Eating is necessary, cruelty is not kind of mentality. So I don't think she would go full vegan, but she would be exceptionally anti-animal cruelty. Anyway, so the narrative. So the whole point is that we were trying to make the demo. So I've gone into detail as far as the narrative. Well, maybe I didn't go into detail with the narrative. So the narrative of the main story is that the main character got into an accident. She got hospitalized and was away from her 911 operator job for a long time. She was brought in from the hospital in a wheelchair, was sit in front, which is why you can't move from your desk, and you are then reintroduced as a 911 operator, but because you know, it's been a while, you do like a quote-unquote introductory course, which is the tutorial, right? And then once you sit down and the day moves on, everything is normal for a while until eventually the mimics start spreading, and it will start in the top left area, which is your house. The main character's house is the one on the top left. So it starts at your house, at your location, and you are pushed in from I think I'm going to say family relative. I don't think we're going to go in the direction that she's like in a relationship. But this one, you know, is the first one to go. Her family is the first one to go. And then as things are spreading, that's when the coworkers start leaving, and you know, the narrative development as she was essentially chosen to be a target for being stalking for these creatures, and then are now ambushing and doing the same for everything in this area. And then at the end of the game, you will be the last one alive, and your inevitable end is yet to be determined. I don't think I will have a solid decision on how I want to go about doing that, especially not today, but maybe sooner along I'll find one that feels perfect. But for now, open-ended is the way we're going about. Happy them getting a PC so I can finally play some of the games. Yeah, I'm excited for you. Like, I'm excited for you getting your own PC. All the power to you. Not having one these days, it really feels restrictive. But I understand it, you know, being younger and all. I'm trying to remember the first time I had PC. I think I just used my mom's PC for the longest time. I don't think I had my own PC. I think I had my own laptop when I was like 17, 18 or so. Maybe when I went off to college, I had a school laptop. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Most of the reason I didn't like the Grimace Shake is because they were just wasting food and throwing it everywhere. That's fair. That's a fair judgment. I can see that, and I agree with that to some degree. I don't like wasting food. I really don't. But I do like things that go viral that are horror adjacent. So I have mixed feelings on it. But I definitely agree with that statement. That was very wasteful, and I'm not a fan of that. Anyway, so that's the narrative of here. So the narrative begins, game begins with main character leaving. But how did the character get there in the first place? She was in the hospital at that town. So player or main character was in the hospital at the small town. Okay. Because my stream was paused by itself. Basically, I'm excited for you. In that I believe I didn't get my first PC until I went to college. And then I had a laptop. Until then, I think I just used my mom's PC. So the main character was in the hospital in the small town, but how did she get to the hospital in the small town? Well, if we look here, we want mountains, we want forests. Yeah, those are trees. Don't at me. I'm drawing with a mouse right now. So, what would you be doing? Should we say a hike accident? A camping accident? Would that make sense? If that she was main character was found hurt in the woods after going to go camping. I mean, the drive to stop the mimics is going to be everyone around her dies. That's definitely dry. I'm scared of the people that could draw with a mouse and any amount of skill, right? I don't want to give Detached her safety rope. Yeah, do we feel more hiking injury? Do we want to do like maybe a mountain climbing injury? Do we want a camping? Like the way I'm painting it now is that she was just found injured, and I'm going down the amnesia drive. More drive? What do you mean? But like I'm going down to like the amnesia route, but that feels lazy. You know what I mean? That feels like lazy storytelling, where it's just like they just found her and they don't know what happened, but who? It could be anything. Like that feels not satisfying to know. Any monitors? For your first computer, I would recommend just focus on anything that's affordable. You don't have to get anything super, super crazy. Make sure it's 60 hertz at least. 1 millisecond delay for games. But like, don't spend more than like a couple hundred. Like you don't go crazy with it, especially if it's your first one. You'll know, like, it's better to have something that works and cheap first, and then as you move forward, than it is like get something super fancy off the rip, right? Because like for instance, my brother, he got the super special monitor and he absolutely loves it, and I love that for him. But like, I don't necessarily see the need of it for me personally. Drive-in is a player stopping mimics. So you're saying the main character... Oh. I need to specify this. This is... I have main character, but it's not the... This is the main character for the main game. So this is... But so what you're saying is that the main character knows about the mimics and they're driving in to try to put a stop to them. But then we're going to have to go down the realm of how the hell do they know it? And if that was the case, and if they were so knowledgeable that they've come down to try to hunt them, then why would they be freaking out over the 911 operator situation? Right? Why wouldn't they just tell, like, hey, this is what it is? I mean, granted, we can go down the route of like, oh, no one believed them, and then things started getting weirder and weirder until eventually they believed them. But that feels a bit tropey. That feels like a bit horror trope of like, person who knows what's happening doesn't get believed in. Eventually things get bad because they weren't believed in. Eventually gets trusted after showing things are wrong. Narrative moves forward, right? Granted, we did have the potential. So one of the emergency vehicles, Dragon, that I took out because I wanted. Wouldn't the 911 operators know from the start that they were mimics? I assume they might have known beforehand. Oh no, I'm moving forward that people are assuming like they have no idea what's happening. They have zero clue what's happening. And then this stuff starts going down, and I think the first thing that they'll do is that they'll assume cultists. I think they'll move forward with the idea of like, oh, it's these cultists that are trying to break in and pretend that they're other people and kill, like they're like religious nut jobs, like is the way that they're going to go about it, until like more and more things kind of point to like, we don't think this is human. Like the last thing they get to is that this is not a human thing doing this, but they're going to assume that it's human first. You should make like a really, really, really hard ending to get, and you need certain conditions to do it, and a password and all this stuff to figure out all these codes and a lot more. Oh, it sounds like you you want to really branch out that cipher part of the Discord star. If we really want to get convoluted lore and really, really want to spell out what's happened here, I can definitely see going in the direction of like a super secret ending where you're able to follow the clues and you get to see what's happening. Versus I'm approaching more of like a open-ended, you can assume what you want, versus this is exactly what happened, but you have to dig pretty deep in order to get, which isn't a bad way of going about it. If that's the direction that we want to go, we can go in that direction. But we have to have a good feel and definitely get the lore down, and definitely an interesting lore that would make it so that people would be interested in finding out more, right? But yeah, no, I was definitely moving forward with the idea of 911 operators have no idea what this is. They have not been trained. The whole think sabotage idea, even the player protagonist would not know what they are. They won't speak. I haven't fully decided. Pretty much, it's like, well, I don't think the main character knows it's them until the very, very end of the game, because I don't want to give the impression to the player that it's them. I feel like this game would fit with the power box where you have to put in a new fuse because the other one breaks. Oh, it's like the power goes out, etc. I think that falls under the similar things where we discussed before as far as maintenance. We don't want to add too much to the mental load, because they're having to answer phone calls, send the appropriate guys over, listen to the results of it, and then the calls increasing, and while the mimics are getting more and more difficult to predict and to decide what's real. And then on top of all that, you also have maintenance stuff to take care of. That additional maintenance stuff feels like it would be like too much. But what we can do is explore the idea of doing like fuse box / maintenance / like electricity cutting off, or losing the ability to interact with one of your machines or something. When we really get it down and dirty with the feel and flow of the loop that we need to finish making. Every 30 minutes. I don't know how. Well, we also want to discuss, like, how long do we want a run to be? Like, average. If with like, people are going to try to last as long as possible, so they may last very, very long time. But like, what do we want a gameplay loop to be? I mean, it is infinite because you try to go as long as possible, but it gets more, like, there is a gameplay, it gets more and more difficult, and it will get to a point where they literally can't move forward, either through time or through like they made mistakes or they weren't as efficient. Like, there are, it will always feel like you're on your back leg. That's the point. So there isn't really an infinite. If it was truly infinite, then it's the time is whatever people feel like they want to end the game on, right? Put the power box into the hard mode that we talked about a long time ago. Yeah, that's true. We could, because we did talk about different game versions where we had increased difficulty and we have different things added to it. So that's true. We could add that to that. So that's something that to keep in mind then, as far as having additional things you have to juggle on top of everything. But one thing that I have been gone back and forth on is, does our character talk in the main game? Do they respond to the 911 operator calls? Do we choose what we say to them? Are we asking questions to them? All right. I haven't 100% decided on that. For right now, silent protagonist. Completely silent protagonist. I had no intention of talking or responding. I mean, there could just be, they'll be on the way, right? Well, I want that to also be like a quote-unquote theory, was that she was part of him the whole time. But that adds a whole other can of worms, doesn't it? If she does respond, to what extent does she respond? Are we just talking emergency vehicles are on their way, and that's all that she says? Because these calls are going to be definitely variable. That would, any normal person would not have a police are on their way response. They would have like a lot more to say about the situation that we would then have to code and create and make for, right? We want to be wary on content creep on adding that. So I do agree that she should probably say some things, but I don't know, or I haven't really seen a way to go about it that allows us to do it in a manageable way without making it super complex. You're one of the mimics, but you're vegan, so you're trying to stop it. I think it should either be the operator and the player, and the operator is fully voiced, or silent and the player picks the dialogue. Be the operator and the player, and the operator is fully voiced. Voice, or the silent and the player picks dialogue. What do you mean the operator is fully voiced? What is the difference between the operator and the player in this case? Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. So basically it's either voiced or... Wait. No, you lost me. You lost me. An insane ending where it pans out of the character and it just goes past and shows that you're in a simulation. What is this? M. Night Shyamalan movie? Oh my gosh. My God, you were in a simulation the whole time. We're ready for mimics now, sir. And then it's like the president puts a seal of approval, just like, approved. But no, like let's think here. Let's think. Phone calls. Does the player talk? Let's discuss it. I think in a realistic 911 situation, a 911 operator would talk. In looking at other games that are 911 operator simulators, a lot of the gameplay stems from the fact that you get to choose a lot of different questions that you ask them. That's where the gameplay loop is. You answer, you allocate resources, but then by asking the right questions at the right time, you get extra answers that help the problem, right? Hey, Reddy, how you doing? Either the operator and the player are separate characters, so character perspective. So the operator, us, is fully voiced. Or the player is the operator, so first person, but calls are silent and it's only dialogue. Got you. Okay. So you're saying from a third person perspective where we're kind of leaning over and influencing their decisions versus we are the operator, their decisions are our decisions. I plan on this being first person. I plan on we being the operator. But then how do we respond to the calls? We could just do text only. They come, well, I plan on them having voices when they call in. So is it weird that when we respond to them, we don't have a voice? Or should we have a voice? And if we have a voice, how far are our voice going? Are we asking questions? Are we asking follow-up questions? Are we trying to determine that they're a mimic by asking questions? And does that mean we need to have the imposter system also include us investigating them of the person who's calling to determine if they are, how you determine that they are real or not by asking them right questions? You know? Some will be implemented voice recognition using keywords so it's voice heavy. Thank you for the water. I don't think I want it to be voiced on our end. I have considered one of the other games that we almost ended up doing instead of this game was a game that was it recorded your voice and then altered it and then played it back at you. So that was one of the things that I was considering. But I don't think I want to do that in this game. If I was going to go back as far as how you talk to them, I would say, that was the shortcut for Duck Mama Dodo. I don't think it would be text to speech. I think it would be select options to ask. But I don't know. I don't know if I want about not asking them questions if we can speak. Now, what we could do is a text-to-speech kind of deal where maybe we can't talk to them, but we ask them the same questions every time. Like, if yes, how do we ask questions? If yes, how do we ask the same questions every time? Like, where are you located? Is anyone hurt? Like that kind of stuff. We could go down the route of like, we can't talk, but we are able to do, maybe they're trying to implement like a speech to text system on their computers. It's like the first of its kind or whatever, because this is early 2000s, right? And and then just be like, oh, or like late 90s, early 2000s. It's like, oh, we're trying to implement this new thing. It's all fancy, and it's like, shit. You know? When you had your camera on that day, you didn't have anything on that wall you were planning on it, putting anything there, or someone send you stuff? I don't really have anything planned to put on there. I do plan on moving soon, though. If you want, I've been meaning to give out my P.O. box anyway for y'all to send stuff if you wanted to send anything. So I can actually do that. I'm not going to ask for anything, but if you want to send stuff, then I'm not going to be against it. As long as it's, appropriate. Maybe just the same responses, considering the time pressure it takes to have the same responses. Yeah, but does that feel good? Because as far as gameplay loop, it's they call, you make a decision, you listen to what they're saying, you make a decision, and then you send the emergency personnel over to them. That's the loop. But now by adding this, it's they call, you ask them questions, and then from the results of those questions, do you make a decision and then send it off there. And then whenever we make our people calling the police script, we need to be able to have different versions of different answers for each of those questions. Right? Like, help is on the way, police will be on the scene, and ambulance will come and help. Like, that's kind of the direction that I was originally going, was like, the only statement, the only voice that would happen was after you sent the emergency personnel as help is on the way. But that also doesn't seem very 911 operator-y, does it? To not have any questions or follow-ups? I don't know. I don't know where I want to put my line in the sand here. Should it just be help is on the way after making a decision? I don't know. I don't really know how an interesting way of going about this. Because let's logically think here, right? Let's go. This is usually how I try to break things down and coming up with interesting solutions to problems, is going through the train of logic of the situation and then kind of see what we can play with. So, a house is being broken into. Fully voiced is easier, I feel. It feels too complex to be voiceless if there are questions asked. I mean, if it's fully voiced, that would also mean you get to pick a lion or male or female voice at the start. I mean, I'm planning on the character being female pretty much regardless, because it's like a character, right? So it's like, it is first person, and I know I said that the player is the character, but at the same time, you're acting through them, but they're still a person. Astroneer? I believe I do. Is Astroneer? No, the Kerbal Space Program is what I was thinking of. Which one was Astroneer? It wasn't Planet Crafter. I believe I do. I believe I do like Astroneer. Anyway, so as far as picking, was just essentially the other option. Oh yeah, no. I like where your head's at. So, okay. Someone breaks in. Someone calls 911. 911 gets picked up on the other side. You're the 911 operator. They talk about someone's breaking into the house. You determine that they're a real person. Or not even to that point. We skipped ahead. They tell us what is happening. What do we do? Right? And then we probably would be like, hold on, we will be sending the emergency personnel as we speak. Would probably be our response. But would that be always our response? Right? So that would be the response that we would send in an emergency situation like that. But what if it was a child calling? We need to come up with a solution where we don't have to worry as much as far as custom made responses to every single thing that we do, because that will immediately significantly complicate our thing here. So actual 911 calls for different scenarios, right? That does make it more realistic and interesting, but the issue being is I don't want to make it too complex here. I'm trying to avoid the complexity, because the easy answer to this question is make a custom answer for every call. That's the answer. That's the appropriate answer for solving the problem. But the issue with that is, okay, cool. I just almost doubled my workload because I've now need to make, on top of all the other potential calls that are coming in, I now need to make special responses for each of those calls. And I now need to code so that when one happens, I give that exact response. And then if I decide to do options, it's even more complex, right? I've now quadrupled or octupled my workload, right? So we're getting into the realm of potential content bloat or content. I forget the term for it off the top of my head right now, but the idea of like, oh, this would be a good ad, but does it add enough to the experience to deem it as taking? It's just abstracting certain parts of it. No, you are 100% right, Dragon. Seeing the results of the 911 operator calls in general is a good way of going about it. And I've done research as far as what those calls entail. Maybe not so much from this perspective, which is why going back to listen would be a good idea. But I've also looked at because there are other 911 operator games. I think I do. I would have to Google. Hold on. Let me see. Astroneer. Oh, I know about Astroneer. Yeah, that's a fun game. I don't remember if I played it, but I watched other people play it. It was good. It's fun. But the idea of what other 911 operator games did is that their gameplay loop was just, their main focus was asking the right questions to get, like, not all the calls were as obvious as some were. Like, a woman calling from her shower, just singing in the shower, seems like a call that wasn't meant for 911, but as you ask questions, you realize that she's calling about someone breaking into the house, but she doesn't want to let them be fully aware that she called 911, right? Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, Star. So like that was that core gameplay loop, but we don't want to create, if we're going to create another gameplay loop on top of the other gameplay loop that we already have, we need to make sure that, one, it fits nicely into it, and two, doesn't overwhelm our people. Maybe as you pass the town, you in an uninfected form. And then after you left and got to your job, the same town gets affected. That's how you deduce certain voice inconsistencies. So the dialogue will be guided by the interaction before the shift. Huh? Oh, that's funny, Star. Hold on, let me reread that. My brain, I've been talking for a while now. I think my brain is starting to get a little mushy. That you pass the town that you were in an uninfected form, okay? And then after you left and got to your job, that same town gets infected. That's how you deduce certain voice inconsistencies. So the dialogue will be guided by the interaction before the shift. So you're saying there's going to be a whole other thing before the shift even happens that we would interact with? That seems like a lot. That's a whole additional thing to the game, no? It's like we're adding another game to the game, in a way. Unless I'm misunderstanding. So let's see. We get a call. We pick up. We answer. They tell us what's going on. We should say something. Or we should at least respond to at least letting them know that we're here and that we hear them. I definitely don't want to give the player agency to type their own responses, even if it is text-to-speech, because then we would have to code an AI to recognize certain phrases, and that's a whole bag of worms. So they would need to, if we are going to select it, it would be, if we are going to respond, it should be from a select few answers. But those answers need to be flexible enough, more like it's a non-stress version of the main game. You hear them, but it's not an emergency situation, but from your car. Oh, I get you. So basically, it's you get to see what happens before the accident. You get to hear what's happening before the accident. So it's almost like a day before you leave, and then you get a whole day of no mimic nonsense. And then people call and you send, and then that's the tutorial. The tutorial is a pre-leave day. Then you leave, things happen, takes you a while, come back, and then you are already have the cobwebs brushed off. You already know what you're doing, and then mimics start happening. Okay. Okay. That's not a bad idea. I'm not in love with it, but it's not bad. Because, I mean, currently our quote-unquote tutorial is like an onboarding, not video, but like interaction where it is like a tutorial thing that is meant to, for people who just got hired. But that's the reason why it's just like, okay, we're not going to let person who's been working there day one just get calls. So which is why I avoid, this is the first day on the job. This is why you're returning. 20-second delay on a phone. It's understandable. Yeah, I know it's frustrating to explain, but I appreciate you still trying. But I like the idea of it, but it's hard to say. All right, while we go to ad break, feel free to try to clarify if there's anything that I got wrong with it. All right, see y'all in 3 minutes. I'm gonna do some exercise. Just in time. Love to see it. Yeah, I definitely see why you can't do it either. Can you imagine? Oh, that would be so bad. Alright. Getting my headphones on. Alright. I think what this is a sign of, by the way, is that this is an interesting topic, but we don't tackle it today. We won't tackle talking on the phone today. The whole, I wouldn't say point, but what we did want is to talk about the demo. That's our goal, is to go through the demo. Specifically the narrative of the demo. I was gonna say narrative of the dodo. Narrative of the demo. So I think main character was, let's say instead of found hurt, was hurt in the woods after going camping. We might switch it to like climbing or something. But she was she had taken some kind of damage. I don't think I want to go in the direction of she was attacked by a mimic, because mimics are meant to stalk and learn and then ambush. They wouldn't attack immediately. They would wait. Unless it was like an attack and a fail, but then we get into like the complexity of like, oh, how did it fail? Why did it fail? Does that mean it means that this person's special? I don't know if I want to give that impression of like, this main character's special. Like I want this to be like, oh, this is just a person. This is just a random person that just happened to get chosen, right? I'm never really a big fan of like main character super special for this super special reason. It's just kind of like, So, whatever. Right? So, main character was hurt after the goes to camping. Main character is sent to the small town. Game begins with main character leaving. Then, I will type my thoughts on the Discord when I get home. I'll imagine the structure because it will take a little more than Twitch chat message to handle. Completely understandable. I look forward to it. Feel free to send pictures as well into game dev stuff. And yeah, just let me know. Who takes the last call, so he is special in that regards. All right, see ya. I mean, it's special in the sense of like, she's just a normal person, right? Just a normal person that just happened to be chosen. She wasn't special because she has an ability. She wasn't special because in unique blah, blah, blah. It was just like luck of the die. She was chosen. Here we are. Like, I don't want the impression of like, oh, there's something extra about it. Just you and me now, Star. Okay, so the game begins with character leaving. So character leaves. Side character. Demo character. We would want the demo character to be somebody who oversees the town. Maybe the demo character is the sheriff? You know? And then that way it allows, like, oh, this person knows everyone in town, they know what's going on, and they'd be, no, if they were the sheriff, they would go. Well, someone has to answer the calls. But the sheriff would also leave. We don't want the sheriff to leave. Maybe the demo character isn't a sheriff. What if the side or the demo character is a deputy? Right? So then they're the one answering the calls, and then the sheriff and all of them are the ones leaving and going. But they're the ones at the desk answering the calls. I actually kind of like that, because it doesn't. We don't want to give, because remember, this is a horror game. We want to we don't want to give too much empowerment because that kind of defeats the purpose. No, I wouldn't say defeats the purpose, but it weakens the resolve of the horror when you have strength, when you're empowered. And so you not being the strongest person in the room, you're not having that in charge, you have people above you, does give you a sense of disempowerment just right off the bat. So I like that. Now what we could do, I mean, we could also go, I was kind of leaning towards like a park ranger kind of feel, where it's like, oh, this is like a national park with mountains and stuff. Drinking coffee, you're gonna get tired because of the middle of the night. You just love having little chores that you have to keep up with, don't you, Star? You just love it. Would it also make you happy if I had a little button that was like, oh, you're running out of breath, you need to breathe? I'm just messing with you. But yeah, no, the if we go down the park ranger route, then I don't know, I like it. I don't like chores, but I like making hard mode very hard, apparently. Well, I don't like making things difficult for the sake of difficulty. I prefer difficulty adding a feeling of accomplishment. Drinking coffee is not one of them. I do like the idea of a national park, like a park ranger, because that also kind of gives the feeling that they kind of know what's out there. Game for 3 hours, 46. Why is that specific? I look over at my stream, making sure that wasn't the exact stream timer. Yeah, no, I don't think it would be anything like that. I think hard mode would just be you finish the game being over. I think if you lose in the game, you just unlock hard mode. If we decide to do that. No. So park ranger. Potentially park ranger. So I like the idea of a park ranger. The issue being name the park. I mean, it doesn't have to exist. But I think it would also be cool if it did exist. Yeah, custom night similar to FNAF. I don't know. We would have to finish assessing and making the imposter spread to see if we want to kind of give that in the hands of the player. Granted, if I'm able to, it's not a bad recommendation. Challenges, and then at the final night, basically on this challenge mode, you will have cranked up to like 20. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, all this is happening on one night. This won't be like 5 nights at Freddy's where there's 5 different nights of this. This is all happening on one night. But we would have to name the park. But I also kind of want to give the feeling that these people actually kind of know what's happening a little bit. Main character, main town, I don't want them to know a damn thing. Or at least the responders don't know a damn thing. Or do I? Do we maybe want to make the third person leaving actually kind of have an idea what's happening? That's interesting. Hold up. That's actually kind of... Where are you? Coworkers. Ex-cop. What ifs? It's, the knower. Person who knew what was going on to a certain degree, but kept silent as to being scared of making things worse, was told stories of who they were by their grandparents. Mode, and then there's a challenge mode when it adds different things. Yeah, I mean that's still good. That's still a good idea as a potential thing that we could do, because we also considered the idea of because a lot of this is going to be a bit stagnant, or else the difficulty 4 stuff wouldn't work. And that is a much more random mode where there wasn't stagnant stuff. Everyone was in different places. All the lore is kind of scrambled, and you just kind of have to figure it out as you go. Whereas the way that we currently have it, and planning on going about it, every single time you play it, you can do better because you retain the information, right? But I like this idea. I like this idea of a person knows what's going on to a certain degree instead of the ex-cop, because when you get to the second to last guy that's available, that's kind of when you start info dumping a bit. Fourth wall breaks? Why do you want fourth wall breaks? But I mean, we already have Mama Dodo squeak toy that's going to be in there. That's a bit fourth wally, and it's by the time you're at that point and you are facing off against these things, and up to this point they have considered it being a cult. They're dressing it like it's a cult. They are dressing it where it's these people that are breaking into houses pretending they're you, and they're pretending to be your friends and your family, and we're like trying to keep people from becoming a victim to it. And then you get to this third one where they start freaking out, and they kind of spill the beans of just like, it's the blah blah blah. Like maybe we'll come up with a name, maybe like an old name. Maybe we go into some mythological names and just be like, it's this, and it's like, oh, my grandma used to tell me about these things that were in the woods that you don't listen to their whistles. You don't whistle back. You don't talk back, because if you do, they will follow you home. Right? And then it kind of adds this kind of like extra tenseness of like, this isn't human. It ever was. And that would technically be around the same time as when you would normally drop that kind of thing. So I kind of like that idea, actually. We might explore that. Sometimes not all the time, because you know that if you rely on fourth wall breaks, it can become bad games. That's true. It's true. Unless that's the whole design, right? Or the purpose of it. Because there's some horror games that are meant to break fourth wall, but they were designed with that in mind, especially lore-wise. Okay, so these guys, I want it to feel like people in this town are aware of the things in the woods. That's what I want to give. I want to give that impression of like, we know of them, but we don't mess with them. Because I'm kind of dipping a little bit into like park ranger horror stories. I don't know if y'all ever listened to any of those, but like the ones where it's just like, oh yeah, no, if you see the stairs in the woods, never go up them. like those kind of short stories where it's just like these weird things that happen that don't really make a whole lot of sense, but your job isn't to ask questions. Your job is not to poke around and find out. You just keep your eyes ahead of you and you just ignore it. And I kind of want to dive a little bit of that in this demo, where it's that feeling of these people have been ignoring these things that have been in these woods for so long, and then now, for whatever reason, they're aggressive. They're attacking. They're taking over. Something happened. Something happened somewhere that changed the rules of the game, and no one knows why or how. And I kind of like that idea of why did the rules we were all silently following suddenly change? And you won't know. Certainly you won't know in the demo, but maybe we can kind of give a little bit more narrative in the main game from that perspective of like, what did she do? Kanito Pet? Oh, was that the one that you recommended in the game thing? Game recommendations? That was the one where it was just like, oh, you add it to your computer and then they can go into your files and stuff, I believe, right? Yeah, I remember looking at that. Yeah, that's definitely on our list. So people are aware of the things in the woods, have lived a life ignoring the strange for the greater good, confused and scared as it seems the rules they were following, that everyone was following, no longer are the case. And the creatures suddenly became aggressive. I mean, if they were, if it's easy, then, you know, let's go for it, right? But we don't want to give too much, right? We don't want to give too much information here. Because if we give too much information, then I want people to go in playing this would be interesting if we could do it in this way. I think it would be interesting playing the demo and then the game gives a different perspective of how the main game plays versus just playing the main game gives you a different perspective. So playing the demo and then the game makes it feel like, oh, these are these things in the woods. But maybe if we continue to paint the main game of like, oh no, this is a cult pretending to be people, or pretending to be the people go in, they're just, you know, crazy people, right? And then we just don't reveal otherwise. That'd be kind of interesting. Because then you have people who played the main game be like, oh, okay, there was like these weird cultists that are mimicking people. That's people who took Among Us too damn seriously, like that kind of thing. And then people who play the demo are like, no. It's these things, right? And they're like, oh, there's something deeper with it. Like, there's a reason to play the demo. That would be kind of interesting. I wonder if we should do something with that. Because we are designing it so that that people would want to play the main game after the demo and still want to do that. But what if we also make it so that we give a reason for people who just played the main game to go back and then play the demo? That's not something that people usually go for or strive for. But I think that would be kind of interesting if we introduced ways so that people would want to go back to play the demo after the main game. able to say some lore, but not all of it, and then he just jumps and scares the player. Just like foxy jump scare. I mean, that's not terrible. That's not a bad idea. Not in the sense of the jump scare part, but like the maybe more of a supernatural feel. Just a little bit of just a sprinkle of supernatural. Just like not everything is here is what it seems, or this is like maybe static will come up on the computer or something, and or the radio. Ooh. Okay. Well, what if we mess with the radio a bit? What if we... Well, we already have the radio station that could turn into for clues. So let's see here. Let's go with the idea of kind of going off this. Sudden static / interference, which would give some lore background. Maybe sudden, to kind of give that little feeling of a little bit of a jump scare. I would like to not lean into the jump scares as much as possible, but I do like that idea, Star, where it's like you would have these moments where suddenly there's something's off, like the static on the radio interferes, so you're trying to listen into it, but then you get in and you start to listen to the static, and it's talking about bones. It's talking about the dark forest that it always remembers, or like we can really dive deep into like mythology and things of that nature, and we can kind of pick and choose a bit. We need to be a little careful with it, but and then be like little inerps from that, and just be like, oh, the blood, like they ignore the sheep, the blood, those with blood on their door, like getting a little biblical, get a little bit mystical, mythological in it, where you have these moments where it's just like, that's a little odd, but would give clues as far as what these things could be, and the little breadcrumbs that could lead to it. So I like that. Good suggestion. It may not be exactly what you mentioned, but you helped inspire this, and I appreciate that. Like, as a fourth wall break, like he's interacting with a player, telling him what happened in the story, but not all of it. He's just cut off and disappears. Oh. Like he's telling the player. So is it maybe like something like PT? Where it's kind of like the radio is about a newscast about this whole, like, a guy who killed his family. But you're the guy who killed the family, kind of deal. Or in this case, you would hear the background of a town that got missing when everyone was gone, with nothing left. Interesting. But I don't know I want to go about that way, now that I think about it. I don't want to give the impression that it's all in our head. I was thinking of like when you start up the game, this happens. Oh. Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay. Maybe like a voicemail? We really lean to the last call. They're just like, hey, Mom. Ooh. Maybe that we can link the first thing that was cut off to us at the end of the game picking up the phone, and then we are the last call. And then we complete the cycle where the call in the beginning was us making a phone call, our last call. That's actually not bad. I'm writing that one down. Okay. Text files or any files in the video file, so it shows you something and it's telling you what to do or something like that. I don't know. I don't know either. That sounds very one shot. Possible alternate start/ending. Game begins with main character leaving a voicemail that is cut off. The last call at the end of the game, instead of it being received, is when the main character makes their own phone call. Their last call. I actually really like that. I like the idea that the game begins with a phone message. That really adds like a real good atmosphere to it. And it's like you hear someone's last moments. And that's the first thing that you come across when you open the game. It's just this person at the end of their rope talking to someone that they care about. And then it gets interrupted. It stops part way, halfway, whatever. And then it ends. Well, then we would also probably have to give people like what the actual full call was. Right? At the end of the game, probably. You can make it also that the character that you play don't remember, but you remember everything, so it's not like an infinite loop. Got you. So it's kind of like a time cycle thing, like recursion, where you just relive the same day over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's a bit that we're getting into territory that I would consider like hell. A little bit of what was that horror movie called? The one with the weird phone, with the weird name, where they were stuck in the house. Anyway, something like that. But no, I really do love that idea, where you open the game up and then you just hear this phone ringing, someone picking up, or it's like, please leave a voice message, and then the voicemail is left by the main character saying their last moments, and then it gets interrupted, and then the game starts, and you watch the process of it all going down. And then when you're the last one alive, you see the character reach over and dial a number. And then you looped it. I don't know if that's more or less effective than the call coming in and you don't know what's going to be on the other end of the phone. But what I will say, I don't know if I love this more because it's more recent and it's exciting, or because it's better. But I am liking this more than our current decision for the end of the game. I think I'm more in love with the idea of the game beginning with the phone message. I think that also gives the impression of what we define as last call. Where last call is somebody's last phone call. The last call and recording of them speaking ever. And I think there's weight to that. I don't know if you want to, but you can make the true ending like you saved everyone and you stopped the loop from happening. Yeah. If we're going to go down the time loop of like try to save as many people as possible, and then the true ending is that you save everybody, that would definitely be the direction I would go. But we're definitely not going to head down the idea of you can save anyone. This is a tale of tragedy where you can try your hardest, do everything right, but in the end, you only delayed the inevitable. And there is a lesson in that there are some things in life that you can only delay. And there is purpose in that. There is purpose and meaning behind delaying the inevitable. That no one was real and you were the only survivor? No. Maybe we can give like a couple, or at least make it so it's still very much unclear if this is real or not. That's fine, but I don't think we're gonna go down the route of like this was all in their head, this is a mental health institution kind of situation of like, oh, they were all dead. However, I certainly don't mind going down the direction of no one was found. She was the last one in that town, and there were no bodies. None. She was the only one. No bodies are available. There were signs of violence. There were signs of things going wrong, but not a single body was left. So we don't know if they were real or not. But more than likely they were. But what happened to their bodies, no one knows. And, you know, she will probably be suspected. The main character would be suspected for doing something, right? I'm definitely fine with going that direction where it's like you don't really know. Another potential cool ending would be the recording. There would be maybe like other recordings. Ooh. All right, let me see something. Let's make a copy. Let's explore the idea of recordings. Yeah, exactly. So I like the idea of like end of the game. Recordings are audio logs that can be found that add lore/background to the situation at hand. Thinking of having them be rewards for beating the game or doing certain things. Example, I like the idea of a cassette recording of the investigator interrogating the main character of where the bodies were located, of the town were located. I like the idea that you have like this trickle. Yeah, like challenge. Yeah, exactly, like challenge mode, where it's like we'll have certain challenges turned on. You can have like hard mode or whatever kind of variables that we want to add in, or do certain actions, or maybe we can, because one of the integrated difficulties that is much more player driven versus I just tell you to do it is the was what we discussed before about people. Every character has their own story. They have their own character arc until the end of the game. So each one could be you unlock a recording for each person that you manage to get to the end of the game. It's less to do about trying to last as long as possible and more to do with getting a specific person to be the last person alive, and everyone else doesn't matter. And I like the idea of that. Because that in itself is a challenge. And you have to manipulate it of like, okay, so we have to be extra defensive at this location, but then we have to let other people go and make sure that we actually get it to spread as fast as possible so we can get to this end as fast as possible. So it's like a mixture of a speed run and also defending specific people. Like it's an interesting way of going about it. And that's definitely something that's just going to come out naturally for as long as we keep the narrative interesting, right? Or at least interesting enough that people want to do it, but not so complicated or time consuming that they wouldn't just look it up, right? Audio likes to be found at a lower back. I think having the rewards beating the game doing certain things, like having certain people get to the end of the game. So then the game becomes less last as long as possible and more almost like a unique version of what do they call it? Escort quests. The one that everyone hates where you just have to defend the person as much as possible. You know what I mean? And then each time you have a person get to the end, you unlock a certain something. That will drastically increase the replay value. Because essentially we would have... if we have like 36 people, is that what it was? Let's see here. Demo, keep an eye on Brainstorm. No, that's roadmap. Tutorial imposter system challenge mode. Oh, this is the challenge modes that we were talking about. Variability of spread of spread. Infinite mode. So we were talking about that. Characters. Oh, this is the list of characters that we were going to go down into. Okay. Imposter system. Oh, this is where the things were. Where was it? It was map brainstorm, I believe. Yeah. So we have 56 people. We could probably cut that down considerably. What I was thinking like we would have like 30 people, but I think it's amount of people work here 28. We can mess with this a bit, but as of right now we have 56. But if we tie specific things like different recordings with different people, like and once you collect once again where you record your own voice, they're very old now, but you like put these little tapes in. I forget what it's called, but you know what it is. It's like very dark room with a light on top, and there's a thing that you put audio logs into. Oh, a tape recorder? Yeah. I don't know if I want to go down the route that they're old, because that gives that solidifies. I'm not sure how I want her story to end. If I want her story that she's always targeted and that she isolated herself, knowing that if she goes to any populated place, it was going to happen again, or maybe there's a fear in that, and that she became a hermit, and so she, just in case it would ever to happen. But the idea of the last cassette is the cassette of collecting all the other cassettes, and that's her cassette. That's the main character's cassette of her last moment. Ooh. What if each of these cassettes were their last moments? Last call isn't just a last call, it's a last moment for each of these people. You unlock in each and every one of them, and each and every one of them has something to say at the end. Maybe. That does kind of put... You would have 56 challenges. Well, that's Well, the 56 challenges would be trying to get 56 different people into the end, right? Which would mean playing the game 56 times, which is a lot. So I think we would probably, if we were going to tie these audio recordings to getting people near the end or other challenges that we can imbue, we would need to decrease that number considerably, probably closer to like 40 or 30. Or maybe it doesn't have to be every single person. Maybe some people are just destined to die. We can cut that down by being like, oh, some of these people you just will never be able to. That feels a little bit lazy, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's still interesting, right? I like this idea. I really, really like the idea of audio and really going into like the reward is knowing more. You should also do a video recording sometime to make it more creepy, like the analog horror kind of videotapes. I love analog horror, dude. I think some of these recordings can be types of recordings. We can do variables. Let's do, because like they don't all have cassette players on them, right? So if we're gonna give the impression that all these people are leading their last calls, their last moments on a thing, we want variability. So we could do VHS, we can do cassette, we can do voicemail, we can do what are some good analog-esque kind of recording style that we can go into. I like this a lot. It adds a good amount of flavor to this too, and it sets the mood to like start the game with a voicemail. We'll see if we still fall in love with this for next week, but as of right now, this is exciting. This is good. Streaming. This is late 90s, early 2000s. Who the hell is streaming? Who the hell is... Hold on. When did YouTube come out? It wasn't that late, was it? When did YouTube begin? 2005. When did phone cameras come out? Phone cameras. Okay. All right, we'll display this stuff. So let's do phone cameras. Cameras, phone, voice recording. Because if YouTube wasn't out yet, hold on. Well, maybe not. Let's when was the first live stream on the internet? The earliest recorded instance of live streaming hold on. First media capable of live streaming over the internet were developed in the early 1990s. Where I feel like it should be like a FNAF 6 kind of final line. Remind me what that one is. Or send it via... send me the video in game development on Discord. I don't know that one off the top of my head. Some of the earliest events of the live stream were music concerts and baseball games, later being broadcast to real player, a media player by real networks. Let's see here. The internet company Real Networks developed the first media capable of live streaming. Okay, 1995. No. It's just that I wanna watch it. Okay, we'll do like a old live stream? Question mark. Because it seems that there were like it wouldn't be Twitch, it wouldn't be YouTube, but there were capabilities of live streaming. Hey Alice, how you doing? You got here just in the nick of time. 10 minutes left. But I like this a lot. I like this a lot. VHS, cassette, voicemail, phone cameras, phone voice recordings, old live stream, question mark. What other early or late 90s, early 2000s, or what good analog horror vibes would it be a certain type of recording? Cassettes. Oh, do I? I'm sorry. What time is it? Like right around school/work? Well, that's why we stream on both of the weekends, both days of the weekend. Is so that because I know Tuesdays aren't super great. Like y'all are busy, especially if you're on the East Coast, because y'all are working or in school. Yeah, sorry about that, but I don't know. I want to take advantage of the earlier stream for y'all, and then you join when you can, and if you can't, well, we miss you. Let's see here. Analog technology. It's $350 for you. Okay. Were you in school or work? Let's see here. Examples. Analog recording technology examples. Vinyl. We're using replication method, capturing original sound waves. I don't think we want to go all the way to vinyl. I feel like you used to stream longer. I've varied, but I don't think since you've been here. I think we've tested 6 hours. We've done 2 to 6. We used to do 2 to 6. Then we switched to 1 to 5 a while back. So maybe that's what you're thinking. Sure. Or no, put it in the game dev. If there's a game dev general, just shoot it in there. Analog recording. Let's just do instead recording devices late 1990s. Digital audio tape and digital audio workstations on PCs. Cassette recorder. Maybe? Recording process. Let's do voice recording. Voice recording devices in the 1990s. Looking at the field recording equipment. Maybe. Like distortion? Okay. I kind of like the idea of distortion. I mean, we're already going in the direction of distortion in the sense that a lot of these are going to be, because we have VHS, we have cassette, we have voicemail, and then we kind of started branching out into like phone cameras, phone voice recordings, and then like old live streams. These big three, VHS, cassette, and voicemail, are like the big three. And then, all right, I'll check it out. I think I'm going to finish my train of thought here, and then I'll watch it after stream's over, Star. No, we're going to be done in like 5 minutes. So, Alice, to kind of catch you up to speed, I've kind of fallen in love with the idea. So this is, Last Call horror game about 911 operator. And with some of Star's recommendations, it's kind of inspired the idea of the game beginning with a voicemail of like the main character or something like that, and then the idea of recordings being rewards for certain like accomplishments, challenges. I want to lean more into the idea of each person you get to the end of the game gives you a certain recording, and each one of these recordings is their last recording, is them in their moments of their last recording, right? As well as recordings for like lore and background, and a good example of this is a cassette recording of the investigator interrogating the main character, where the bodies from all the townspeople disappeared to. Like little bits of like, you get to kind of see more of the results of what happened after the game ended, as well as peeking into what has happened previously before, as well as perspectives from all the different people that lived there. And a heartfelt message to the kids, that would be devastating. Yeah, I the way that I currently picture it is that the main character is leaving a message for her mom and having that conversation on a voicemail. And like, you don't get all the way through it. The game begins with her, obviously tired, obviously gone through it, and they leave that voicemail, and then it cuts off halfway, and then the game starts. And it really puts you in that mindset of like, oh my god. Like, this is how we're starting the game? Excuse me? And then you play the game, and you're trying, to get to the end as best as possible, and trying to, fight off the inevitable as far as possible. And the last eventually, it will also make it so that when you get to the end of the game, if you haven't gotten anyone to the end of the game yet, you automatically get like a recording, because you got them to the end, technically. And like, it's a mixture of information, of lore, of people. And I really want the player to feel like these are people in a way that I think a lot of games don't address NPCs like that. Like, add a gallery for all the fan art and prototype stuff and many more. Yeah, I like that idea too. I'll probably have like a section on Blue Sky, or like a tag on Blue Sky or Tumblr, and just be like, hey, anyone who was making fan art of this game, of what these things look like, these interactions, these relationships that grow and develop that we're going to, make, you can do so via this tag. And yeah, I think it adds a lot of weight to it that is kind of what I was aiming for in the first place, by making these, that have all these decisions and reactions to things that are happening, but trying to avoid, the trees of decisions that a lot of RPGs deal with these characters. And I think this is an amazing way of going about it, I think because currently we have planned 56 people. We're going to be taking that number down, especially if we're going to tie in recordings and lore and all that kind of stuff. 56 is a lot. We have to keep in mind the idea of a completionist, a person who wants to get all the lore and all the stuff and stuff. I don't want to make them do this 56 times. They will be sick of our game before they get to 56. That's ridiculous. I'm thinking like maybe 30, maybe, depending. Like, we need to cut that down by half at least. So either we'll make it so that it's not every single person needs to get to the end. Maybe it's like specific emergency personnel, and then like certain people in certain households. Can we add a dog last call? As in, the dog is the one calling? Or a person leaving a message for their dog? Equally devastating, by the way. And FYI, we're not gonna give any kind of impression that. Are we gonna cut the cat lady? No, we're definitely keeping the cat lady. But how are we going to? What would the voicemail of the cat lady be? Oh, I know. I think the voicemail of the cat lady may be her finally figuring out that her cats aren't cats. Like, she'll be like, I'm back with new prescriptions. I can see better now. Oh my god, who are you? And then you just hear like a lot of noises. But yeah, no, I will I'll check out the video you showed me to see what you were referencing, and if so, I'll respond in the Discord. Don't you worry. But I thank you for your opinion. It really inspired a very interesting direction that we can really kind of add a really good way of rewarding our people, our players. So I know you just joined, Alice, so I apologize, but it is time for us to go. So thank you all for joining me today. A new VOD just came out for Sunday stuff, and tomorrow is going to be Repo too. So if you missed Late Night Repo, that'll be coming out tomorrow. And yeah, so thank you all. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all on Saturday. All right, take care. See ya. Bye-bye.